with the Public Commission, Planning Commission meeting. It's 6:02, meeting called to order. Can we do the Pledge of Allegiance, Director?
Okay.
Want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic,
Recording in progress.
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gracias. Roll call, Director, please.
Commissioner Arvizo,
Here.
Commissioner Murillo,
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Fonseca, Vice Chair Hernandez,
He's here.
and Chair Gonzalez.
Here.
He's
You just want to note that Vice Chair Hernandez is here.
Yeah, he's here. Right behind you.
Yeah.
Okay, going on to approval of the agenda. At this time, the commission may announce any item being pulled from the agenda or continued to another date or request of moving an item to the agenda. We have anything?
You want, so we need a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Hey, roll call, Director, please.
With a second, Murillo?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Arvizo,
Yes.
Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
and Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to the next item, approval of the minutes, Planning Commission meeting minutes for November 1st, 2023. We have a
No.
motion.
No comments. I motion to approve the Planning Commission meeting minutes of November 1st, 2023.
Get a roll call, Director.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
Chair Gonzalez,
Yes.
and who else did I miss? I'm sorry, Commissioner
Forgot about
Arvizo.
Jason.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. All right, going on to the next item, the written communication. Do we have anything, written communication, Director?
None from staff.
Okay, go. Okay, going to the next item, public comment, non-agenda items. The public may address the commission on any item of interest to the public that is not on the agenda but is within the subject matter jurisdiction thereof. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. It's 6:04. We're going to open up the public comment. Whoever wants to speak, go ahead.
Do we have a translator just in case?
Yeah.
Yeah, so translator, would you be able to translate on the English channel then? Hello?
I think it's gone.
And that's up to the planning commission here, if they want them to translate on the English channel. Would you like that?
I'm fine. But I just, if anybody needs translation.
Henry?
I speak Spanish.
Henry, you habla?
Okay,
No, I'll help you. I'll translate.
Do we have a translator?
yes, excuse me, I'm not sure the name of the person that's translating for this meeting, but the request
Are you
is.
are you talking to the interpreter or,
Yes.
or to the translator? I'm confused.
I'm sorry, the interpreter.
Interpret.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, would you be able to do the translation on the English channel so that those that are present at the meeting can hear the translation into English?
Sure, when there is a need for English interpretation, I will do it in the English channel.
And then if there is any presenters in English, then if you could do interpretation into Spanish.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you want to open the public comment?
Okay, yeah, I just did. Well, we're going to open up the public comment. It's 6:06. Do we have anybody want to address the commission? Got 3 minutes to.
Buenas,
6:03, go ahead.
sí, buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ana Gabriela Cota y
Hi, how are you? My name is Ana Gabriela Cota.
okay, yo tengo la junta con ustedes ahorita, o sea, no importa si se pasan, yo los espero.
I have my meeting right now. It doesn't matter if you go over, but
yo
I
soy
will be waiting for
una
you.
residente de Coachella, que
I live in
tengo mi negocio, mi
Coachella,
restaurante aquí en Coachella,
and I have my business here in Coachella.
ofrezco trabajo a 6 trabajadores,
I employ
que
6
tienen,
people.
son 6 familias, ahorita
6
reduje
families.
a 4 trabajadores. porque así de grande impactó los vendedores. Yo primero hasta iba y me llegué a sentar ahí a comer, porque todavía no llegaba el impacto hace más de un año que empezaron a ponerse en las esquinas.
It's been over a year that they've been standing at the corners.
Mis ventas en las tardes se redujeron a más del 50% porque hay demasiadas opciones afuera. Nosotros
My
tenemos,
sales have reduced to more than 50% because there are too many options out there.
nosotros somos una población de aproximadamente 40,000 habitantes. Más o menos eso es lo que estuve investigando. Y
We're a population of around 40,000 people. That's
Yo
what I
tengo-
had been doing research on.
yo tengo 8 años que confié en esta ciudad y pedí prestado, me acuerdo, a medio mundo para poder poner mi negocio. Yo también soy una inmigrante. Estoy
I
cerca de
had
acá.
been doing this for the last 8 years. I trusted the city for the last 8 years. I asked to people all around to lend me money so I could do this, have my business. I'm also an immigrant.
Y sé, ahorita escuché que somos una ciudad santuario y en este caso creo que no por tener un negocio crean que nosotros estamos en una posición mejor. Yo soy una mujer que vive en Coachella, que ofrece dinero, que ofrece trabajo en Coachella,
Un segundo,
que
señora.
tengo mi
Señora,
negocio
un
en
segundo, por
Coachella.
favor. Señora, un segundo, por favor.
Es que si nunca se me van a pasar los 3 minutos y todos se
No,
entienden
tiene
español.
6 minutos. Si tiene intérprete, tiene
Todos
6
se
minutos.
entienden español.
Chair,
muchachos.
IT was suggesting maybe instead of 3, it'd be extended to 5 because of the
Ok,
interpretation delay.
tiene 5 minutos. Síguele, tiene.
Chair, so I just want to clarify, since she is speaking Spanish, she gets double the time. So it would be 10 minutes for her if they're speaking in Spanish.
Ok, so,
Entonces, 10 minutos en total.
Ok.
síguele, gracias.
So I just wanted to let you know that I've been in this city, and not just because we're business owners, that means that we're in a better position. I'm a woman employing other people and trying to go on with my business.
Bien, vivo en Coachella, me gasto mi dinero en Coachella, contribuyo a que la economía en Coachella camine. Estos vendedores que vienen de otras partes, que también son inmigrantes igual que yo,
Un segundo, señora. I live in Coachella. I spend my money in Coachella, and I contribute for the economy here in Coachella. These other people, they are coming from other places, and they're also immigrants like I am.
y yo la vez pasada vine a la junta que estuvo en el concilio, ahí por las 6, y les expliqué que si no nos estuviera afectando de la manera en que nos está afectando, no estuviéramos aquí, pero nos está afectando bastante. Somos una ciudad muy pequeña para que haya tantos vendedores inmigrantes igual que nosotros. Nosotros no tenemos grandes cadenas de restaurantes, tenemos negocios pequeños y también ocupamos de su protección, ustedes como autoridades. Nosotros también empezamos humildemente como ellos y hubiéramos querido tener la oportunidad que ellos tienen ahorita.
Un segundo, señora. Un segundo, por favor. I was at the last meeting on the 6th, and I was there because, listen, if this would not be affecting us the way that it is affecting us, then we would not be here, but it is affecting us severely. We are small businesses. We are not a franchise. We are not like a big corporation. We are a small business, and we need your protection. And we started the same way that they are. We started from the bottom.
Nosotros no tuvimos la oportunidad porque ganas no nos faltaban de mejor poner una carreta, dinero. Cuando tú pones un negocio pierdes familia, te divorcias, te enfermas. O sea, van tantas cosas de por medio que ni se imaginan y están manejándolo como que es algo de los pobrecitos los inmigrantes y los inmigrantes, pues y nosotros también. Y,
Un segundo, señora. Un segundo, por favor. Having a business and being able to run a business successfully, you lose a lot. You lose family, you get divorced, you have a lot of sicknesses. And like the way that this is being handled is like, poor little people, poor little guys, and the poor little immigrants. We're also immigrants.
Ellos vienen, se ponen, venden, agarran nuestro dinero y se lo llevan. No contribuyen a generar empleos.
They come, they are here, they sell, they make money, and they take it. They take it with them. They don't contribute for any sort of labor work or employment.
Yo aquí contrato al plomero de Coachella, contrato al electricista de Coachella, yo contrato aquí a personas que yo necesito para mi negocio, para que siga funcionando la economía de Coachella. Creo que lo único que nos puede proteger son ordenanzas más estrictas. Porque si no, entonces nosotros vamos a cerrar nuestro negocio para, en primer lugar, se van a convertir en, que ya tenemos en Coachella bastantes shopping centers fantasmas, feos, solos. Y ahora vamos a tener que salir con una carreta porque es más conveniente, interpretadora, porque me va a cortar.
I continue giving more work to, like, for example, like plumbers or electricians. Whenever I need something for my business, I always give work and my money to Coachella and to Coachella people to keep going with my business. So I think what we need is your protection from the city of Coachella. We need more strict measures to help us, because it would be easier for us just to be on the street selling. And we already, otherwise, if there is not a solution, then we're going to close down our businesses. We have already enough shopping centers, and that no one is even there.
Nada más el viernes de payroll yo tengo que pagar casi $2,000. Eso ni lo conocen los vendedores ambulantes y están así de llenos. No crean que están pobres o que no venden bien y todo ese dinero es limpio.
And just this Friday, I have to pay payroll $2,000. They don't even know what that means. It's not like they don't have the money to do it. They are very busy. They sell a lot of money and they make a lot of money.
Hoy me cortaron la luz de mi restaurante, pero nomás me dejaron una nota roja que diciendo que si no la pagaba hoy, me la cortaban mañana. ¿Saben lo que son las tarifas eléctricas de un negocio? Lo altas que son.
Today, I stopped having light. It was cut off, but they left me a note, a red note, where it was saying that I had today to pay for it. That if I would not be paying for it, which is really high, very high bills, then I would not be able to have light tomorrow, electricity tomorrow.
2 meses que no pago mi carro. Así de bajo cayeron las ventas en las tardes.
I haven't been able to pay for my car for the last 2 months. That's how low my sales are, and during the evening.
Porque prefiero pagarle a mis trabajadores, prefiero pagar la renta del local, todo eso que no conocen los vendedores ambulantes. No podemos coexistir como coexisten los vendedores ambulantes de San Diego, de Los Ángeles, porque es una población más grande. Ni siquiera creo que han pensado en las dimensiones de este problema, lo que va a causar a nuestra ciudad. Que ahí la llevamos, que más o menos íbamos bien como ciudad creciendo, pero con esto, y yo sé que es una ley estatal, pero también
Un segundo, señora. So, for example, I have like right now, what I'm focusing on is to pay my rent and my workers. And that's something that the street vendors don't know about, but we really have to focus and we really have to take into consideration the size of our city. I know, like, for example, in Los Angeles, it's a much higher population, so it doesn't affect as much.
You got 10 minutes.
Pero sé que es una ley estatal que ustedes tienen, pero también como nuestros autoridades también pueden decir, no, yo protejo a la autoridad y a mi gente. Ustedes le pueden decir a la ley estatal, primero tengo que protegerlos, y si no pueden hacer eso, pueden poner una ordenanza, el fee de primera violación son $100. Por favor, pues más fácil, si quieren mejor.
Ya pasaron los 10 minutos,
Sí,
muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
I think the most important part is that we have to understand that.
Chair,
Hey,
so this isn't a discussion period, this is just to receive.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, síguele.
Pedro Padilla.
Pedro, pásale.
Bueno, creo que hay muchas cosas aquí. No me ha tocado estar en algunas juntas. Nosotros como negocio tal vez hemos dicho las palabras incorrectas. Escuché un comentario que dicen, ok, lo bueno es que nadie está en contra de los vendedores ambulantes.
Un segundo, señor. I also have a business, and maybe we have not been communicated correctly. Maybe we have used the wrong words.
Y creo que todos los que tienen negocio aquí en la ciudad de Coachella están en contra, si no de los vendedores ambulantes, están en contra de lo que está haciendo la ciudad, dejándolos trabajar sin ningún tipo de permiso, sin ninguna regulación, sin ningún tipo de aseguranza, como ya lo mencionó, sin ningún tipo
segundo,
de
señor.
cocina.
They say that we, like us as businesses, we are not in favor of the street vendors, and because the city of Coachella is letting them run their business without a permit, without any kind of regulations, without any kind of insurance.
Y eso es lo que está pasando. Yo también entiendo, yo como inmigrante también, todos tenemos el derecho de salir adelante, de poner un negocio. Pero esto, la verdad, es un negocio, ¿cómo se dice? Unfair, que no es justo ni para nosotros, ni para ellos, ni para ustedes. Yo estoy en contra de todas las reglas que están poniendo ahorita para los vendedores ambulantes.
But as an immigrant, I understand that we all have the right to grow and to have a better life and to start our own business. But this is very unfair. It's unfair to us, to them, and to you guys. I am very much opposed to all the regulations that you guys are giving to the street vendors.
Estoy en contra de todas las regulaciones que están poniendo porque yo también quiero poner ya también mi negocio en la calle. Y no quiero poner uno, quiero poner unos 20 porque tengo como 20 empleados aquí en Coachella.
Because I also want to go that route, and I want to do my own street vendors businesses, and I don't want to only do one. I want to do like 20 because I have too many employees here in the city of Coachella.
Quiero poner mi bote con hielo y vender ostiones, vender ceviches, vender micheladas, vender tequila con ostión. Quiero hacer lo mismo, yo quiero hacer lo mismo que ellos.
And I want to do the same thing. I want to have a bucket with ice with my oysters and sell ceviche, tequila, micheladas. I want to do the same thing that they're doing.
Ahora, ¿qué clase de cocina permitieron ustedes para ellos, para vender?
What kind of kitchen do you allow for them so they can sell?
La ciudad está checando las cocinas regularmente todos los días. El Health Department está yendo todos los días. El State Board está checando que le estén pagando su billete también, su dinero. ¿O qué es lo que están haciendo?
The city is constantly checking the kitchens, and the health department is always inspecting. The state board is also there, so you can give them the fee. So what are they doing?
Ahora quieren quitar la liability. También quiero que me la quiten a mí. Yo acabo de pagar $32,000 también por el año. Estoy en contra de todas las regulaciones que están poniendo. Y lo mismo deberían de hacer para nosotros como negocio. Quitar todo.
I am against all the regulations that are being set up for them, and I also am going to do the same. I'm going to stop doing my liability because I just paid $32,000 for this year. So I just I want all my responsibilities to be taken away from me.
Y para terminar, porque hay muchas personas, son 10 minutos, si lo van a hacer, ¿cuándo lo van a hacer? ¿O se van a regular o no se van a regular? ¿O van a seguir vendiendo como lo están haciendo ahorita? ¿O qué es lo que va a pasar? Porque pienso que ustedes como miembros de aquí de la Ciudad del Concilio, lo están permitiendo, quieren cerrar los ojos, cerrar los oídos, ganar el voto latino, como mencionó aquí la señora, no nomás los locales, está viniendo gente, pero no me importa. A mí si venden afuera de mi negocio y venden afuera de mi casa, pues es lo mismo. Sin permiso y sin nada, no hay regulación de nada. Hay unas ciudades...
So what I want to know, what are you guys going to do it? When are you guys going to do it? When are you going to start all this? And when are you going to start doing all these regulations? because it just feels like you are just being blinded, and maybe because you just want all the Latino votes, like the ma'am said. So I want to know, like when are you guys doing all these regulations?
Y también me gustaría saber qué tipo de carrito van a permitir en 6 pies de banqueta. Qué tipo de carrito y qué tipo de canopy que tengan una protección con el aire, con el porque estamos aparte, ahorita pasamos el COVID. Tenemos que 3 años, es más, y todavía estamos en él. ¿Qué tipo de carrito y qué tipo de protección van a permitir? Refrigeradores, estufas, baños portátiles, un lavamanos para que se laven las manos, o qué es lo que van a hacer en 6 pies de banqueta. Se van a agarrar 6 pies por 200 de largo para poner un negocio.
So I also want to know what kind of car are you going to allow to have in a space of 6 feet, and also what kind of canopy, like to have the protection and the air, because COVID, we just passed COVID, or actually it's still here for the last 3 years. So what kind of like protection are you going to set up for them, and are you going to allow them to have a refrigerator, a stove, mobile bathrooms, a little sink to wash your hands? Like, so what kind of protections are you going to be doing?
Ya para terminar, sí me gustaría saber eso, como les mencioné al principio, todos están en contra de los negocios ambulantes, y los negocios ambulantes quisieran estar en contra de nosotros y permitirles seguir vendiendo, pero pues yo también lo quiero hacer. Me gustaría saber las regulaciones que van a tener para poner a mis 20 o 30 trabajadores que tengo, contando los de Catedral, pues cierro también los de Catedral y pongo 100 negocios ambulantes. Yo prefiero pagar $100 de multa diario y no hay problema.
So I want to make sure that everyone understands that we are all against the street vendors, and I want to know when is all this going to get started, and what kind of regulations they're going to be formulated. Because if that's the case, I want to do this. I want to take my 20 or 30 workers that I have, and maybe have like 100 street vendors, and like maybe I even go to the Catedral as well. So I want to know, like, how can we do it? Because this is better. That way I can just pay a fine of $100.
Gracias.
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 Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Cristian Limón, yo soy vendedor ambulante. Imagino que yo soy el único aquí, pues. Pero
Hello, I'm a street vendor.
las reglas son reglas, ¿no? California puso esas reglas por algo, ¿verdad?
Rules
Ahora,
are
yo tengo
rules,
la-
and that's why California stated them for a reason.
Yo tengo la licencia de aquí de Coachella para vender.
I
Eso de
have
la
my
aseguranza está bien,
Coachella
pero que se
license
ajusta, pues.
from
Aquí
here,
estamos
from the
todos
city
para
Coachella.
juntarnos y a ver cómo podemos hacer que las cosas funcionen bien, ¿no?
So we are here so
Pero yo-
we can all talk together and see and find a way how we can all work it out together.
Yo me levanto a las 3 de la mañana. Yo vendo aquí por las 54. Yo le vendo comida a todos a las 5, a las 4:30 me están esperando porque yo le vendo comida a todos los trabajadores del campo. Ellos tienen trailers, tienen los troques, no tienen dónde meterse para adentro a comprar comida. ¿Ah?
So I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. I sell on the 54th Street, and by 4:30 in the morning, all the workers are already waiting for me because I sell them to all the field workers in their trucks and in their trailers.
Ahora, ese tiempo de 6 de la mañana, o sea, para mí no está bien, pues a mí me va a afectar, ¿verdad? Pero yo siento que tenemos que ser justos, la verdad, pues sí, todos acoplarnos y todo, hacer las cosas bien. No tirarnos unos al otro, pero yo siento que...
So the time at 6 o'clock in the morning, obviously, that is going to be affecting me. But I believe that we all have to be just, and we have to be fair, and we have to adapt with each other.
Y todos venimos de abajo. Eso tenemos que recordar, que todos venimos de abajo, todos le batallamos. Hay unos que tienen familias grandes, ¿verdad? Antes no habían tantas reglas así como ahorita, como las quieren poner para los vendedores ambulantes. Era más fácil.
And we all have to remember that we come from the bottom. We're all trying to make a better lives for our families. We have big families, and before we didn't used to have this many rules. It was much easier.
Ahora quieren poner muchas reglas, va a estar canijo. O sea, ¿cómo? Si apenas uno puede agarrar trabajo en una parte.
So now if you guys are going to set up a lot more rules, then it's going to be really hard because as it is, it's really hard to start working at some places.
Yo digo, pues está bien, pongan reglas, pero no tan complicadas, ¿va? Yo fui
Yeah,
como
I say you guys can do the rules, but don't make them that complicated.
Yo fui como 3 veces al condado y nomás me daban los papeles así, nomás me los tiraban. No me decían nada de información ni nada. No tenían a alguien que hablara español.
So I went 3 times to the county and they would just give me all these documents and papers, but there wasn't anyone there to give me information in Spanish.
Pero pues sí, eso del tiempo sí me afecta.
But the timing, it does affect me.
Y pues es todo lo que tengo que decir.
And that's all I have to say.
Gracias.
Anybody else would like to address the commission? Go ahead.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Omar Argüelles. Ya anteriormente he hablado tanto en el City Hall como en las juntas de planeación y de desarrollo económico.
Hi, how are you? My name is Omar Aguirres, and I have been here in both meetings, the City Hall and the Planning Commission meeting.
Yo creo que tanto Gabriela como Pedro ya explicaron cuáles son las concernaciones a grandes rasgos de lo que están viviendo los small business aquí en Coachella.
I think that Gabriela and Pedro, they both have explained all the things that the small businesses have been going through here in the city of Coachella.
Yo creo que si esto se tiene que hacer, yo creo que ya esperamos bastante tiempo. Ya no se puede aplazar más para poner las regulaciones, porque esto ya está llegando a niveles excedentes tanto en cantidad de street vendors como lo que está impactando a la economía nacional.
So I think that this has gone for too long. We have to take a decision and make a decision now, and we have to start setting up these regulations because now there are a lot more street vendors.
Somos una economía muy frágil, la ciudad de Coachella. Ustedes lo saben, la mayoría vivimos de temporal y de lo que vivimos estacionario, que fue el campo. Recuerden que este año no hubo mucha uva, no hubo mucha sandía, no hubo mucha... ¿Por qué? Porque no hubo calor. Y cuando las siembras iban a dar, vino el huracán. No hubo dinero realmente en esta parte del Valle de Coachella, no hubo para nuestros negocios tampoco.
We also have to remember that our income is always temporary. We always have to rely on the harvest and the field work. For example, let's remember that this year we didn't have a lot of grapes or a lot of watermelon, and that's due because it wasn't very hot. So that's been really low this year for us.
También creo que se debe de trabajar en conjunto tanto con Ciudad Conformance, con el Estado, tanto con Salubridad y bomberos. Porque yo he estado estudiando, yo sé la cantidad, yo soy el que hago el estudio de cuántos street vendors se vienen por semana. He hablado con bomberos. Los bomberos no saben ni las regulaciones. Ahorita Gabriel nos enseñó que 500 pies y la semana pasada no puede haber. Pero todos vemos que en la 51 ya no es un problema de salud, es un problema de seguridad, que haya fuego en una gasolinera.
Un segundo, señor. Un segundo. So this has to, we all have to work with together, like the city, the health department, the fire department, because, for example, the fire department, they don't even know what regulations we have to have. I'm being the one who has been doing this research to see how many street vendors we have now. And like I was talking to Gabriel, like he was saying about the 500 feet, like we don't even know because now it's a problem that is becoming a security and safety problem.
Como les decía, hay una gasolinera y a menos de 500 pies hay un street vendor con fuego. So ya
For example, at the gas station, there is a street vendor using fire, and this is less than 500 feet.
Yo creo que todo el mundo los vemos. Es más, si salimos de aquí, hay unos street vendors. La razón por qué hay muchos street vendors que vienen de Los Ángeles o de otras ciudades es porque yo lo chequé. Ellos no cumplen con las regulaciones de esos condados. Y como aquí lo pueden hacer, aquí vienen y lo hacen.
For example, like even if right now we step out of here, we're going to see a street vendor. And the reason why there are so many street vendors that are coming from LA or from other parts is because they don't follow or comply with any of the regulations. And the reason why they come here is because they know they can get away with it.
Y estoy de acuerdo, mejor quiten todas las regulaciones, No pagamos aseguranza, cerramos los negocios, que quede un pueblo fantasma y empezamos a poner nuestros propios carritos o street vendors, stations.
So I do agree, like, let's not have any regulations, like that way we don't have to pay our insurance, we close our businesses down, and then we can just all have little like trucks, and then we'll just have a ghost town.
Por último, así rápido para que los demás hablen también. Sí, yo pido por favor que esto se haga dentro de un rango menos tardado, para así nosotros no sabemos, muchos no van a llegar a enero, eso sí les digo, para nosotros como negociantes tomar una decisión que vamos a hacer.
So what I'm asking you is to please make a decision, and let's do this soon, because it's been very hard for us, the small businesses, and I'm going to tell you, some of us are not going to make it till January.
Es todo, muchas gracias, por
Muchas
favor, no
gracias.
aplacen más.
Hi there, good afternoon, Planning Commission. I'll be speaking in English. What would be my time?
You got,
10 minutes, too.
yeah, you got 3 minutes for,
No, you'll have 5 minutes.
5 minutes? All right, and I should pause for translation?
No, you don't have to.
All right, just keep going. All right. So, hi, good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Brian Sanchez. I'm with the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. First, I'd like to start off by saying that we do recognize that there are concerns from small business owners, from restaurateurs, regarding the impact on their sales by street vendors. However, I would like to suggest that there are multiple factors now increasing the cost of living all over. We see it every day just in our day-to-day lives, gasoline, shopping, food, all of that. So we strongly recommend against scapegoating street vendors as the only reason for difficulties in business. Also, when I've come before to the city council, and we recommended that the city adopt some of our recommendations and different approaches to create a model street vending ordinance. Now, when we talk about a model street vending ordinance, this is not to imply that the ordinance would favor street vendors or be against brick and mortar restaurants and small businesses. A model ordinance would take the well-being of both into account. However, as it stands, the current draft ordinance could still require some changes, and the approach that the city has towards vendors can be radically different. The reality of street vending is vastly different than I think what anyone possibly believes. We see it right now. Some people, in the commission or some restaurateurs might have a certain opinion or preconceived notions of what is street vending. But the reality is that it's very, very different. For example, they work very different hours to serve a different clientele. They often serve foods that are radically, they're much more different than what's being served in restaurants. And it's oftentimes cheaper, which gives the impression that they're making fabulously large profits. It's just because, right now with the higher cost of living, people are looking for cheaper food, cheaper fare to eat. However, this is counterbalanced by the fact that they're operating, what was the word I'm looking for? By a different set of overhead. They have to depend on transportation costs, food costs, equipment, and of course fines that they may encounter with code enforcement. Like the gentleman right here was talking about that, right now, they're trying to scrape by to make a living just like anybody else. So we recommend that we have various recommendations for the city to do so. I believe we sent them in before, but just a couple that I'd like to talk about, because I believe it's more in line with what the Planning Commission does, would be the expansion of hours. We see here that the hours for residential zones are from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is more or less satisfactory. But in non-residential zones, we would recommend that it be at least 30 minutes before sunrise, which fluctuates with the seasons, but that can be worked into the ordinance. And 30 minutes, I believe, and 30 minutes after sunset in residential zones. This is to, of course, provide enough time for the vendors to, of course, operate in shade in times when the sun is not as intense, of course, since they're going to be much more mobile. And if the city is not looking for them to have any canopies or any sort of sun protection like that, then of course they should be allowed to operate in hours where there's more shade and the temperatures are much cooler. In addition, we do not recommend, and of course, Vice Chair Hernandez, you can correct me if I misinterpreted what you were recommending, but we don't recommend that there be a sort of timeline, or restricted timeline on when vendors must become restaurants or must become brick and mortars. Of course, lots of vendors in our experience, in our years of work with them, do dream of having a restaurant, do dream of having a brick and mortar, and oftentimes the only barriers that they have, like the gentleman mentioned, is language, is accessibility. So we encourage the city to have a more education-first approach, offering more accessibility to them. But of course, then a restricted timeline like that, where they have to become a restaurant, they have to leave street vending behind. There's just no way to gauge that. Gaining enough capital, gaining enough money for them to open a restaurant could take an extended period of time, and setting a limit on that will just cut them off at the knee if they can't, keep vending, if they can't keep selling to make a living and to support themselves.
Commissioner, sorry, but this isn't a discussion period.
Want to see me afterwards? We can talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Have you submitted the recommendations to the commission?
To the commission, I'm not. I don't believe we have yet. So we
We'd
can
like to
email.
have the
We'll email that to the
recommendations
commission
and-
as well.
Yeah, we'd like to have the recommendations, and then we'll take it into consideration.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Ok, me llamo Miguel Gastelum, pues tengo 2 restaurantes, Maricoco, Culiacán. Bueno, yo
I'm
tengo
sorry,
más de
I
20
can't
años
hear.
aquí en el Valle de Coachella
I can't hear.
y pues yo nunca me había quejado de la
I can't
economía.
hear like clear.
Ok. Vamos más para atrás. Ok. Yo nunca me he estado quejando del tiempo que tengo acá, pero sí ahora sí se siente mucho la diferencia, porque ahora ya estamos plagados de esto, de los vendedores ambulantes. Simplemente yo en DC Hot Spring tengo 2 loncheras en la esquina, en una gasolinera, 2 loncheras. A las 3 de la tarde llega otro taquero, por un lado ni a 100 pies, yo creo nomás por un lado.
So I've been here for a while and I have never really complained. But now really things are starting to be different. And so now, like we have so many street vendors all over the place. For example, at one of the corners, I have 2 people, and then across the street on the other corner at 3 p.m. The other person comes.
Ok, y a una cuadra, otra cuadra, está otro taquero. Detrás de mi negocio hay 5 casas vendiendo comida. Entonces,
And
como
then
dijo el
there is
compañero
another
que
one,
él-
a block away. There is another one. Then another block away, there is someone selling tacos. And behind my business, there are 5 more selling.
Ok, como dijo el compañero, que él le vende aquí a los traileros, a los... Ok, está bien. Yo también tengo mi negocio, está fuera de la ciudad. Pero, o sea, antes me llegaban los traileros, me llegaban gente, pero ahora yo nomás me bajo en la Palm Drive, en la gasolinera, aquí en el baldío, hasta 8 carros vendiendo comida. O sea, vendiendo tamales, vendiendo burritos, tortas, otros que pupusas y todo. O sea, la gente que
So
pasa.
I have my business outside of the city as well. And like this gentleman that he was saying that he has he's selling on the street to the field workers. For example, in my case, I used to sell to a lot of the field workers too with the trailers and the trucks. But now when I go, what I see is that there are 8 trucks selling, and they have different kind of food like pupusas, tamales, burritos, tortas.
Ok, entonces toda esa gente que pasaba por mi negocio, que llegaban allí a mi negocio, como ya tienen tantos que van deprisa, llegan a cualquier lugar de esos. O sea, ya
So
no
before I
paran
used to
conmigo.
have all these people that come into me, to my business, but now because they are coming in a rush, they are going to other places instead of coming to me.
Sí. Ok, y también el de aquí también, en la mañana vengo yo, abro, pues ¿quién va a desayunar ya? Pues si desde las 6 de la mañana ya están en cada esquina vendiendo comida.
And
duro, la
even the
verdad.
one here, that when I come and open up in my business here, then at 6 o'clock in the morning, then who is going to want to have breakfast here? Because there is a street vendor in every single corner. So who's going to be hungry to come in at my place?
Sí, es la cosa que pues ya cuando uno abre, ya la gente ya desayunó, porque pues ya, si uno abre a las 8 de la mañana, ya desde las 6 de la mañana están puestos, o sea, y están en la tierra, todo, llegan los carros, todo así lleno de tierra, vendiendo tamales, vendiendo tacos, vendiendo, para cuando llegan aquí adentro a Coachella, ya comieron.
So, for example, like if you open up your business at 8 o'clock for breakfast, they're not hungry anymore, because why are they going to be hungry if the other places are serving breakfast since like 6 o'clock in the morning? So when they are coming into the city, they are not hungry anymore. They have tacos, tamales, all the sort of food.
Y aquí esto es también de las ventas, me ha bajado más del 50%. Y yo pienso que a muchos de nuestros compañeros también le ha bajado tanto así. Y pues es un problema, como dijeron ahorita, esta gente viene de Los Ángeles, vienen o de otros condados, porque allá ya no pueden, allá ya los corrieron, o sea, ya no pueden vender allá, pero se vienen a donde pueden estar. Mientras los dejen ustedes estar aquí van a estar, y sin pagar tantos permisos como nosotros lo hacemos. Porque muchas veces cuando nosotros vendíamos bien, no nos alcanzaba para salir adelante. De tantas
So, for
cosas que hay que
example, my
pagar.
sales
Imagínense
have
ahora que vendemos
my
la
sales
mitad.
have gone down for 50%, like just like my friends here, that I'm sure that is the case for many others as well, that their sales have gone down for 50%. These people are coming from Los Angeles, other counties, from other places, because they kick them out, because they don't let them have their business there, because they don't comply with any of the regulations, and they don't have to pay for anything. So, so like for example, even us, when we were having good sales, it was really hard to get by.
Bueno, yo lo único que les pido también es que si van a hacer alguna ordenanza, que hay que hacerla pronto, porque en unos meses alguno de nosotros ya no va a existir.
So what I'm asking you is, if you're going to do an ordinance, to please do it quickly, because in a few months, some of us are not going to be here anymore.
Y si pasa mucho tiempo más, pues a lo mejor ninguno vamos a existir de esto. Mejor vamos a decidir buscarle en la calle.
And if it's too long, then maybe none of us are going to be here anymore. So then what we're going to do, we're just going to go to the street.
Bueno, pues yo le pido esa ayuda también. O sea, muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Isabel Morales. Soy vendedora ambulante desde hace 31 años.
Un segundo, señora, un segundo.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Marisa Morales, and I'm a street vendor for the last 31 years.
Yo empecé como todos los que ahorita están vendiendo en las calles, pero yo no se me dio oportunidad como esas personas.
I started just like everyone else selling on the street, but I didn't have the opportunity like those people.
No pasó ni un mes cuando llegó Salubridad, llegó el Code Enforcement, y llegaron a darme ticket y a tirarme mis cosas.
It was not even a month when the health department showed up, the code enforcement showed up, and they came and took my things.
A partir de ese entonces yo saqué mis permisos, licencias, cumplí con todo los requisitos que la ciudad y Salubridad me pidieron.
And ever since then, I filed to get my permits, my license, and I complied with every single regulation that it was out there, even also for the health department.
A partir de entonces también he tenido problemas porque ha habido restricciones de la ciudad hacia los vendedores ambulantes.
And since then, I've been also having some problems because the city has also been doing other regulations towards to us, the street vendors.
Y entonces lo que yo ahorita quiero, como les quiero decir, es que yo no estoy en contra de que vendan las personas que vienen a vender. Ellos, aquí estos jóvenes dicen que vienen a pelear por los inmigrantes. Todos los que estamos aquí somos inmigrantes. No hay anglosajones que estén peleando un puesto. No hay anglosajón que esté diciendo no puedo vender. Todos somos de la misma comunidad. simplemente que los señores están victimizando a los otros y no es así la cosa. La cosa es que los otras
Okay, un
personas
segundo, señora, un segundo. So what I want to say is, I want to find a solution, and I don't want to be. The people here are saying that they are against the street vendors, but we have to look around and see we are all immigrants. Like some people are victimizing themselves and saying otherwise, but we are all one. We're all one community as immigrants.
Mi negocio consta de que somos 3 personas, mi esposo y mi hijo. Entonces, a partir de que han venido esas personas a vender, nuestro negocito es pequeño, ha bajado más del 50% también.
So in our business, we are 3 people, myself, my husband, and my son. And since these people came here to start selling, my little business has also gone down for like around 50%.
Cuando yo entro a vender, por ejemplo, unos apartamentos, ya adelante de mí ya entraron en las casas, así, por los apartamentos, los carritos de golf, los carritos de push car, los push car, ya entraron. Entonces yo cuando paso ya no vendo.
So, for example, when I go to the condominiums, there are all these other street vendors that are already there. They're by the houses, on the golf carts, on the push carts. So then when I drive by there, then I don't sell.
Lo que yo también quería pedirles es que, así como, mire, yo pago aseguranza, pago comisaría donde debo de guardar mis carros porque no los puedo tener en la casa, los carritos, los push car que se les dicen, tengo que pagar por mes, tengo que pagar la licencia, tenemos que pagar muchas cosas. O sea, es mucho lo que se paga y pues ya no está resultando.
So, for example, like some of my costs are the insurance I have to pay. I have to also pay a fee for storage, to storage my push cards. And I have to pay that every month. I have to pay for my license, and I have to pay for many other costs that honestly I'm not getting by anymore.
En este caso, yo como digo así, si nosotros que venimos a este país, venimos a seguir las reglas, no venir a poner nuestras reglas que traemos de México, porque ya ahí en México es un desorden. Aquí lo quieren venir a imponer y no, yo soy de las personas que dicen que hay que seguir las reglas porque hay consecuencias cuando no se siguen.
Un segundo, señora. So I know, and my opinion is that if we are here, we have to follow the rules. And it's not like Mexico that it's all disorganized and we can come up with our own rules. No, we're here to follow our own, to follow the rules, because if we don't follow the rules, there are consequences.
Y para ser más breve, ya lo único que yo pediría, que así como a mí me pidieron tantos requisitos, tanto de pagar de aseguranza, tanto de eso, pues hay que ser justos y hay que estar balanceados con los cobros, porque no se les puede dar prioridad a unos y cobrarles demasiado a otros. Yo pienso que si van a bajar las tarifas, pues que sea para todos, o si van a mantenerse como están, que sea para todos, pero que haya un balance para que podamos trabajar bien, porque como han dicho algunos compañeros, estamos en la cuerda floja.
And lastly, I'm just asking you to please be fair, please be just, because if you're going to charge X amount of money or fees, to some you have to do it with everyone, not to some a higher amount and to other ones not have as many regulations. So there has to be a balance, and you cannot give priority because like everyone else here has said, like we are not getting by and we're in a bad place.
Bueno, es todo. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Gracias.
Hola, si hablo en español, ¿me puedo traducir yo mismo o tengo que dejar que la traductora traduzca?
The translator would have to translate.
Ok, está bien. Nomás quería hablar en ciertos aspectos. Déjenme agarrar.
I want to say a few things.
Entonces, la ciudad debería empujar para zonas optimales que sean como una guía informacional para los vendedores ambulantes. So
what we have to, maybe what the city could do is to have specific optimal zones for the street vendors.
Like a guide for street vendors. Y esta guía debería ser algo que no sea punitivo como lo tenemos al momento. donde mientras los vendedores no sigan esos lugares donde tengan ahí en ese mapa, que los puedan castigar en el futuro. Entiendo que hay ciertos aspectos donde la infraestructura viene siendo una preocupación, pero también tenemos que tener en consciente que hay ciertos aspectos por qué esos vendedores ambulantes se ponen ahí.
And then we also have some guidance on if they're going to be punishable or not. And then there has to also take into consideration the infrastructure, because we have to see why these street vendors are going there.
I think you mistranslated it. It should be street vendors should not be punished in regards to where they vend, and where they should be a document that publishes that's public with locations where infrastructure is shown and optimal to sell, but without having direct punitive measures for not the guide or not following the guide. I also quería también hablar sobre la capa que Jason Hernandez, el Vice Chair, ha dicho sobre eso en la Junta un poco anteriormente. Una capa no fuera algo que sea legal estatalmente.
I also want to talk about something that the Vice President had talked about before regarding the canopy.
No, cap. The street vendor cap, not canopy. Sobre los vendedores ambulantes. Esa capa puede hacer
El límite, por eso.
El límite puede hacer dificultades en el futuro para formalizar. Y hemos visto que ha pasado eso en Nueva York, donde gente ha tenido esa capa impuesta ahí en la ciudad, y gente que ya se han establecido ya no saben si quieren agarrar esa licencia en el futuro porque pueden
Can you
perder su
please,
lugar.
puede por favor hablar en oraciones para que le pueda interpretar correctamente? Porque si me habla con muchas oraciones es difícil interpretarle correctamente.
Sí.
Entonces, si hace una oración y para y yo le interpreto. Una oración, para y yo le interpreto.
¿Quiere que lo repita otra vez?
Por favor.
Ok. La razón por qué un límite fuera ilegal aquí en el estado es porque
The reason why the cap is illegal here in the state
es porque luego hiciera dificultades para formalizar en el futuro.
because then this is going to make it difficult to formalize it in the future.
Entendemos que hay ciertas preocupaciones sobre esto y queremos limitar
We understand that there are many worries about this.
como gente afuera de Coachella andan viniendo aquí, pero,
Like, for example, people who are coming outside of from the city of Coachella.
pero también eso en el futuro se puede definir como proteccionismo económico.
But that this in the future can also be defined as economic protectionism.
También deberían de ver el lawsuit que anda pasando en Los
La
Ángeles.
demanda. And then you also can look at the lawsuit that is going on in Los Angeles.
En el aspecto de ventas en el aspecto de zonas de no venta,
In the areas where sales are not permitted.
no vending zones. También quería hablar sobre en el futuro la ciudad debería hacer el esfuerzo de tener talleres educativos donde sean
And in the future, the city should also have some workshops, so where they can educate.
Donde puedan educar a los vendedores ambulantes en lenguaje que sea comprehente para la gente.
And with a
Comprensivo
language
para la-
that, in a language that they can train the street vendors using comprehensible language for the street vendors.
Porque como don Limón ha mencionado anteriormente, el señor que tenía la camiseta azul dijo que
So because like Mr. Limon had mentioned before, the person who was wearing the blue shirt, he said
que el condado no le dijo en español los ciertos aspectos de cómo puede formalizarse él mismo.
for that the county did not inform him the aspects that he needs to do to be able to formalize.
Y también hay gente que no nomás habla español, hay gente que habla nahual, hay gente que habla purépecha o maya.
And there are some people that they don't only speak Spanish, but they speak Nahuatl or Maya or Pucapechal.
Entonces tenemos que estar conscientes que no todos tenemos la literacia para leer una multa. También
So we also have to be aware that we are not in the same level and that we may not be able to read a citation.
Especialmente también había un aspecto que andaban hablando de un aviso o una multa primera.
And there was another aspect that they were talking about, a penalty.
Eso se puede definir si va a ser verbal o si va a ser físico o ambas
Can you
cosas.
please define if it's going to be verbal or physical or both?
Porque si no, luego va a ser mucho espacio donde uno puede decir, oh, pues ya lo avisé, castíguenlo, denle una multa.
Because then it's going to be a situation where you're going to be able to say, well, I already notified him, so now give him a penalty.
También quería clarificar que gente piensa que andamos aquí para victimizar a los vendedores ambulantes o algo así. No.
And I also want to clarify that maybe some people think that we are here to victimize the street vendors, but no.
El nombre que tenemos de la coalición es por la razón de que somos una coalición que se enfoca en los aspectos de los que impactan a los inmigrantes. Nunca hemos,
Here our coalition is a name that is focusing on the immigrants.
y entiendo que hay mucha confusión sobre eso y también queríamos abogar que pues andamos aquí también para los restaurantes porque ellos tienen
I understand
preocupaciones.
that this is also confusing, but I also want to state that we are here also to advocate for the restaurant.
Porque si esta ordenanza pasa, luego había una manera como podamos regular.
Because if this ordinance gets approved, is there any other way that later on we can
Que se podía regular la venta ambulante en una manera equitativa.
that we can regulate street vendor sales in a equitative way?
Equitable. Y nomás quería terminar con el aspecto de que entendemos que andan haciendo el esfuerzo y ojalá ese esfuerzo sea continuado en ciertos aspectos donde comunican y tengan un ayuntamiento, a town hall, donde todos puedan participar.
And I do understand that you guys are trying to make an effort, and I'm just asking that this effort should be a continuous effort. So here we can all participate in this town hall.
Porque hay mucha gente que tiene muchas preocupaciones y se tienen que aclarar sobre el tiempo.
Because there are so many people that have so many worries, and they have to all be clarified.
Sé que en Palm Springs nomás había nosotros para abocar para los vendedores ambulantes y gente nomás mandaba sus cartas, pero aquí Coachella.
I know that in Palm Springs they were only just sending their letters, but here in Coachella,
la gente es activa cívicamente y me da gusto ver cómo la gente anda viniendo aquí en estas juntas.
here in Coachella, the people are active, and it makes me happy to see how active they are and how much they are participating.
Para asegurar que podamos tener una ciudad que el sol salga para todos, no nomás para
To make sure that we can have a city that the sun is going to be bright for everyone, not just for
restaurants, no nomás para los restaurantes y no nomás para los vendedores ambulantes, pero para todos, porque el negocio
not just for the restaurants and not only for the street vendors, but for everyone.
Porque el negocio hay mucho espacio para todos. Sí sé que va a haber la necesidad para estas regulaciones y ojalá que hagamos ese esfuerzo continuado, porque si no.
And because there is room for everyone, and we also need to make sure that we continue making an effort.
Y también apoyen a los restaurantes, hagan capas de renta para que puedan sobresalir en ciertos aspectos. Ayúdenos en.
And also, please support the restaurants. Maybe come up with some caps for the restaurants for the rent.
Así para que ojalá puedan sobresalir.
So that way they can get by.
Gracias.
So much.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Ana Espinosa.
Buenas tardes. Hello, my
Le doy
name
gracias a él de que dijo que nos ayuden a los restaurantes.
Hello, my name is Ana Espinosa, and I thank him for saying that we should they should help the people who own restaurants.
Okay. Acabamos de venir de una pandemia. Tener un restaurante para nosotros no es fácil.
We just got out of a pandemic. Having a restaurant is not easy.
En esta pandemia mi esposo se me fue con Dios.
During this pandemic,
Se me
my
fue con Dios debido a la
passed
presión,
away. He passed away because of the pressure
a la presión que tenemos de tener un restaurante.
that we have because we have a restaurant.
Okay. Nos ha costado mucho trabajo seguir adelante a nosotros como
It's been very hard for us to keep
su
going
familia
with
que nos
our
dejó
restaurant
solos.
because now that we are here alone.
En una ocasión tuve un comercial para alguien de ustedes diciéndonos que en esta pandemia teníamos becas para negocios. Yo de mi parte no he agarrado ninguna beca, ninguna ayuda
I
a
heard
mi restaurante.
that one time from some of them here that they were saying that there were grants for people who own restaurants. On my part, I have not been able to get any grants for my restaurant.
Sin embargo, sigo luchando con mis hijos
But
para
I keep
salir
fighting
adelante.
with my
Se paga
children
mucho.
so I can keep going. because
Tenemos
we're
muchas
spending
cosas
a
que
lot of
pagar.
money. We have a lot of costs
Ahorita
to
estoy
cover.
porque me quiten la aseguranza del restaurante nomás porque la tapa del dueño del donde yo rento está quebrada, una tapa de la fosa. Y estoy porque me quiten la aseguranza y volver a abrir otra aseguranza sé que me va a costar mucho más dinero.
I'm about to lose my insurance because where the place where I'm renting, the cover of the sink is broken, and they're about to take my insurance away, and another insurance is going to cost me a lot of money.
Yo les pido de favor que ya estamos algunos restaurantes a punto de, no sé, algunos. En primer lugar, es primera vez que a mí me afecta. Soy
And I'm asking you that there are so many of us, so many of our restaurants that we're about, I don't know, and it is affecting me.
Siempre me han catalogado nosotros como venta para llevar. Y qué bueno, porque yo vendo más mejor que la gente lleve sus carnitas y las vende en su casa. Pero
We have always been categorized as like a delivery service, and that's good for me because we have always been seen as people that they come and get their carnitas to get and take them to their house.
Este domingo tengo 7 charolas de carnitas, 5 de la tarde, y para esta fecha yo ya las vendí todas.
This last Sunday, we had 7 trays of carnitas, and normally at 5 p.m., I have already sold them all.
Entonces yo tuve que cerrar las 6 de la tarde.
So I had to close at 6 p.m.
Vine a traer mi niña para el rumbo a las 52 y los puestos que tienen ahí de comida están llenos de gente.
And then I brought my girl to around 52nd, and all the street vendors over there, they were very crowded.
Si hay personas que se dedican a ser taqueros, déjenos poner el trompo también a nosotros en el restaurante. Y ténganlo por seguro que hacemos la misma comida que hace esa persona que viene y con más higiene, con mucho más cuidado de todas las reglas que tenemos que tener en un restaurante. Sin embargo, yo, como dijo la señorita,
so if you're allowing to have the people like selling tacos, then you should allow us the same thing to us because we can serve the same thing, but a lot more cleaner, and also following all the different regulations that we have.
Yo también fui en una ocasión a un puesto a comer unos tacos. Cuando me dieron los tacos, a mí me dio el olor de uno que cocina, sabe qué huele la carne cuando está negra.
So one time I went to a place to eat tacos, and when they handed me my plate of tacos, someone like me who cooks, I know like when I smell the plate, that plate of tacos, I knew it was black meat.
Esos tacos sabían a ese olor de una carne que ya no estaba buena.
That's what those tacos tasted like. It tasted like a meat that was not good anymore.
Estuvimos en una pandemia que fue una gripa y mató a mucha gente. Así como vamos a estar en una pandemia de un cólera, una enfermedad que vamos a estar comiendo gusanos, una fiebre malta, una fiebre, no sé. Yo nomás les pido de favor que nos ayuden. Tenemos pocos restaurantes en Coachella. Recuerdo en una ocasión yo miré que
We were
estaban
just
haciendo
coming out of a pandemic, and a pandemic that killed many people of a cold. And now we're going to be in a different pandemic that, I don't know, I guess they're going to kill a lot of other people with worms.
Recuerdo en una ocasión miré que estaban haciendo un Starbucks, un shopping center nuevo. Yo vine a la ciudad con el señor y le pregunté cómo le hago para tener yo un local ahí.
And I remember that one time I saw like that they were opening up a Starbucks at a shopping center, and I went to see the guy and I asked him, what do I do so I can have a place here?
Yo le dije, dijo él, ¿qué quieres para tu restaurante? Le dije, un restaurante más bonito y mejorar.
And
Y
he asked me, what do you want for your restaurant? And I said, I want a nicer restaurant and to improve.
el señor me contestó, dijo, esos terrenos ya están usados, viene el pollo, no sé qué, viene el
And
panda,
he told-
viene no sé cuántos locales. Okay.
And he told me that all of those spots were already taken, that they were going to have pollo something and then panda, and that they were all taken.
En el mapa que estoy viendo ahí, esa área viene en área roja. Son
And
donde
the map
pueden,
that I'm seeing there, that area is red zone.
es el área donde pueden ponerse las carretas que vienen a vender.
Is the area where the street vendors can go to sell.
Ok. Por favor, si van a darle permiso a esa gente que venga a vender, póngale en esa área. Esa área que hicieron bien bonita.
So I'm asking you, if you're going to allow the street vendors to come sell, then please put them in that area. That area is a very...
Y esta otra área que hicieron aquí, les
And this
puedo
other
mostrar
area that you
videos
put over here, I can show you on the video.
de una persona que está vendiendo tacos y tiene cervezas.
That someone
¿Sabe
who is
cuánto
selling
nos
tacos
cuesta
and
sacar
they
un
also
permiso para
have,
una cerveza?
beers. Do you know how much it costs us to get a permit to sell beer?
¿Sabe cuántos límites y créditos y aparte clases nos mandan a hacer para sacar un permiso de licencia? Y en un puesto, le puedo enseñar un video, tienen cerveza.
And do you know how many classes and license and things we have to go through to be able
Yo les
to
pido de
get
favor.
that kind of permit? And I can show you in that video, they have a beer. So I'm asking you,
Yo le pido de favor a todos que nos visiten nuestros restaurantes,
I'm
sepan
asking
qué
you
es
to
lo que
please come by
necesitamos.
so that way you can see what we need.
Yo decía, a mí no me afecta porque yo vendo puro para llevar, pero hay gente que no se le para gente en el día.
I
Menos
used
en la
to say
noche.
it doesn't affect me because I just sell for delivery, but there are so many people that no one goes there anymore, not during the day or at night.
Son 5 de la tarde, ya no tenemos gente. No
By
tenemos
5 p.m., we don't have anyone.
Por favor, visualícenos, vayan a cada de nuestros restaurantes, sentémonos con nosotros a tener una plática. Yo le explico lo que es mi restaurante, mi venta para llevar, lo que me está afectando, sí me está afectando porque antes era para llevar y yo es nomás para que coman en su casa. No soy
So
taquero.
please come by, visit us, so I can show you everything, because I thought that it wasn't going to be affecting me because I focus on delivery, but it is affecting me.
Yo creo que va a ser todo. Sí.
Muchas gracias.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Arnulfo Valencia.
Good evening, my name is Arnulfo Valencia.
Primero que nada, quiero las gracias a todos, todos están aquí. Quería
First of all, I
tomar
want to
nomás-
thank everyone for being here.
nomás algo en consideración. Hace poquito yo me fui de street vendor, yo tengo mi negocio en Indio, pero me fui de street vendor para Palm Springs.
Not too long ago, I used to have my business in India, but then I started as a street vendor in Palm Springs.
Hay mucha competencia aquí en Coachella, ya saben.
There is a lot of competition here in Coachella.
Pero me levantaron el primer día que me fui de street vendor en Palm Springs. Hay reglamentos.
But now in Palm Springs, there are a lot of rules.
Estos ambulantes llegaron primero a Palm Springs antes de llegar a Coachella. Yo me fui con la ciudad
The street vendors, they got to Palm Springs before they came to Coachella.
me fui a la ciudad de Palm Springs, traté de sacar mi permiso y
I went to Palm Springs to see if I could get my permit.
renté el local donde me puse de street vendor.
And I rented a place where I was there as a street vendor.
La ciudad de Palm Springs me mandó al Health Department a sacar un permiso.
And the city of Palm Springs sent me to the health department to file for my permit.
Health Department would give me me puede dar un permiso, pero con muchos reglamentos que no está en un street vendor.
The health department could give me a permit, but with a lot of other regulations.
Yo vengo aquí a Coachella, yo soy residente de Coachella y hago mucho negocio en Coachella. Me gusta la ciudad de Coachella muchísimo.
I'm a resident here in Coachella, and I do a lot of businesses here in Coachella, and I really like the city of Coachella.
El que guste saber dónde se puso un street vendor en la noche, nomás puede pasar por cualquier calle de Coachella y mira toda la grasa tirada.
Señor, se separa un poco
por
del
todos
micrófono
lados.
porque no lo escucho. Gracias.
Puedes pasar en las mañanas, o sea, agarran, tiran todo, grasa, grease. ¿Sabes cuánto me costó en Indio? Conocen muchos el hogar ahí en Indio, me costó mucho abrir ese negocio. Primero que nada, el county no me daba permisos porque there was not a grease interceptor. No había un grease interceptor. Ese grease interceptor me costó $32,000. Yo ya no sabía qué hacer sin ese grease interceptor. Pero aquí en la ciudad de Coachella, en cualquier esquina que ustedes vayan, se mira luego, la grasa se va acumulando, Eso es
So there was a
tierra.
lot of like grease when I was there in India. Like there were like all these different grease, and I had to remove it. And here in the city of Coachella, do you know how many times you can see grease?
They closed down that shop, One Stop Shop en Indio. Yo tengo 3 años con ese negocio. Me costó, yo soy plomero, yo no sé cómo me metí a los tacos, pero soy plomero. Pero
And
empecé mi
I had
trabajo
that business for like 3 years, and I used to be a plumber.
y soy inmigrante, no tengo papeles. Aquí pues me quieren ayudar también, pero
And I'm also an immigrant, and I
empecé de
don't have
abajo como todos, oiga, sin vender ni un taco primero.
But
Mi
that's how
trabajo
I
me ha costado toda mi vida.
and it's been I've been working really hard to get where I am.
Y yo pienso que es justo poner reglamentos bien. Si quieren, Palm Springs tiene muy buenos reglamentos. Está muy canijo para aplicar con los reglamentos, pero yo no estoy en contra de ningún vendedor. El sol sale a las
So I think
5:45 de la
it is a
mañana
good
para
idea to
todos.
have regulations and rules. For example, Palm Springs have very strict regulations. I'm not against any of the street vendors.
Yo me levanto a las 4 de la mañana como el otro compañero. Todos los
I wake
días
up
abrí
at
mi
4 o'clock in the
negocio.
morning, just like the other person.
Ahí pasan trailers, camiones, aviones, de todo pasan por ahí y tienen parqueadero. A las
And
3 de
there's
la
so many
mañana yo
other
estoy
things that
abriendo
they're
todos los días,
passing by,
igual que
and-
todos.
And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm already there. It's the same as everyone else.
La razón que lo estoy haciendo es porque en la noche no hay negocio. Yo descansé. Tengo 3
And the
empleados.
reason why I'm doing this is because at night there is no business, and I have 3 workers.
3 empleados. Descansé en la tarde, en el turno de la tarde, 3. Descansé a 3 porque está calmadón. Sí, se nota. Pues un taco ya vale, se me
And I
hace que
have 3
$2.
employees, and I had to let them go during the afternoon because it's kind of slow.
Pero yo pienso que no, todos estamos también tratando, pues, está canijo, todos estamos echando la lucha para seguir adelante, todos, ¿sí me entiendes?
And it's
Es para
really
todos.
hard. We're really struggling, and we're really, all of us are trying hard to get by.
Pero muchas gracias, Ciudad de Coachella. Thank you.
But thank you very
Thank you.
much, City of Coachella.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Mi nombre es Juan Sales.
My name is
Yo
Gonzalez.
soy vendedor de ice cream.
I sell ice cream,
Y necesitamos que un permiso, no importa que estén los vendedores de los equipos en el parque de Coachella,
and we need a permit. It doesn't matter if we have the vendors.
lo que queremos es que siquiera nos dejen pasar despacio por las calles de los parques.
What we're asking is that at least we can drive by slowly through the parks,
porque nuestro negocio es con los niños
because our business is with the children.
y cuando salimos a vender a la ciudad de Coachella todos están en los parques los niños y nosotros no vendemos nada.
Because when we go out to the city of Coachella, they are all there and at the parks, and then we don't sell anything.
Y tengo ya 20 años vendiendo ice cream con mis
I've been
permisos,
selling for the last 20 years ice cream with my permits,
y todo. Y es necesario pues que nos den esa ayudita siquiera para poder hacer negocio con los niños, porque nuestros negocios con los niños no es con los adultos.
and it's necessary that you at least help us that way because our business is with the children, not with the adults.
Otra cosa es que en las escuelas está muy lejos el tirón para que los niños vayan a comprar productos donde estamos nosotros.
And also, the schools are very far away to be able to go where we are.
Es necesario de rebajar esos pies que nos han puesto para que los niños puedan llegar a comprar donde nosotros.
It is we need to reduce or decrease the amount of fee that you have implemented on us, so that way that kids can buy ice cream from us.
Aquí vemos bastantes vendedores de ice cream y ya los van a oír a todos. Yo la súplica que les pido de que analicen nuestros motivos de venir a hablar con ustedes.
There are many other ice cream people who are selling ice cream here, so I'm sure you're going to listen to them as well. But that's why we are here, to ask you to help.
Es todo lo que les quería decir porque yo veo que faltan bastantes todavía y es noche. Muchas
That's what
gracias.
I wanted to say, because there are many others that are still waiting.
I'm not a vendor. I'm a consumer. And I've been here in this valley probably for a long time, probably more time than a lot of you, the younger people. And I remember when McDonald's and Carl's Jr., their hamburgers were the best. The quality goes down, so I don't go to those places anymore. I got sick a couple of times in some of the restaurants, not the new ones, some of the older ones, especially with the carnitas. It put me in the hospital. I don't go back there. So my point is, there is a place for everyone. And I feel for you guys, for you, just a recommendation to the council, but the work is not done. I mean, okay, doing, all the effort, you put all the paper to work together, but the ultimate decision will be the other guys. So it's better to have something in place so you can regulate it. It's better to have something in place so you can enforce it. Because, you go out there finding everybody because, you get in trouble. And we're not talking a couple of pennies, sometimes with all these outfits out there, legal outfits. So go ahead, send it to the council. Let them have it. And eventually, there's a place for everyone. And everybody has a choice where to go. So variety is good, quality is better.
We have any speakers who would like to address the commission?
Hi, my name is Clarissa Espinosa. My mom spoke, but I'm going to speak in English from my point of view because I'm the one that helps her run her business. Each month we pay around, I'm going to say around $10,000, which is gas, rent, gas, light, rent. We get towels from companies. We also pay trash, recycling, everything like that. We have 8 years in our business, and we have 5 employees. and each employee has around 5 families. And now it's getting harder, like my mom said. Now, around 6, there's no more clients. So we were talking, since the pandemic started, we started closing at 6, and we closed Tuesday and Wednesday. And we've been wanting to open up Tuesday, Wednesday, open up until 8, how we used to before, but now we can't because people will rather just say, oh, I'm gonna go eat tacos with the vendors, which I support, which like everyone has said, everyone has a right to sell, but they should have to follow every regulation that we also do follow. We do pay almost $4,000 in insurance, and I find it kind of weird how they're saying that they shouldn't pay any insurance for like the way we do. They're street renters, they're in the street, they're not paying rent, we're paying rent. So I just feel it that it's right that they do have to pay for like the what was it, the permits, like how he said, at least if they're not paying rent out in the street, they should pay the permit a little bit higher. Also too, like I seen the map, we're in the red area right here where they're able to sell as well. And it's kind of hard because they're gonna take away business from where we're selling to. And I think I was reading, can someone correct me, what's the encroachment permit? What is that? Because I see that the city of Indio has it, and it says only if they are using public property.
So an encroachment permit is where?
Excuse me, so Gabriel can talk to
Yeah,
her
let's
after
have the director.
Yeah.
Can you give him an interpretation, Gabriel, encroachment permit?
No, but I'll need to follow up with you after the meeting. I can go over
Okay.
just what all that is. So
Okay.
I'll give you my card in a second.
Okay, yeah, because I'm seeing that it's only if they're using public property, which all the street vendors are doing here. I do want to comment that one time, everyone knows that there was a taco stand on Jackson and 50, right there where the church is at, the dirt. One time I did go buy tacos there, and I find it kind of odd because I ordered tacos, and then he turned around, the ice chest is on the floor. He pulled out a bag of meat, and he just put it on the plancha, and he cooked it again, and he served it. And then for us, our regulation is 6 inches above the floor. And why is he picking it up from the floor, and they don't have regulations like that? And then the next time I went, he had said, oh, we're moving over to Van Buren and 50, I believe. I'm pretty sure everyone knows where that's at. They're right on the dirt. And he said, he had commented and said that they were moving to Coachella because Coachella didn't require them all the permits that Indios does. And I thought to myself, like, well, what is Coachella helping us? What about if their meat is not at the right temperature? We're gonna get sick. And who are we gonna be able to claim it to if they don't have insurance? So I think it's good that you do let them have street vendors, but they have the same regulations that we do have as well, like the permits, everything that we pay, insurance, permits. If they're not paying, they're out just in the street. Well, requirement like something like if they're out in public property, like a permit more expensive than just right now. What is it? What's the permit cost right now?
Yeah, there is no permit. And I can give you more details,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Until we have a
and I think it's fair that it's like he said, like they're coming where they don't have money, but I mean, they're making more money than we're making if they're not paying taxes, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. So I just feel like it's fair if they're not gonna be paying as much taxes as us, that they pay at least a permit a little bit higher than what we do. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We have,
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Oscar, soy el dueño del tranvía. Yo estoy aquí.
My name is Oscar and I'm the tranvía owner.
Estoy aquí representando más que a mi restaurante, a mi comunidad.
I'm here not only to represent my restaurant, but to represent my community.
La gente que está sentada enfrente de ustedes representa las raíces de Coachella.
The people who are sitting before you are the people who represent the city of Coachella.
Son aquellos que dan los empleos y por lo cual la comunidad sigue creciendo.
Those are the people who give employment and the reason why Coachella keeps growing.
Si nosotros no hacemos nada para empujar rápido una ley o algo que pueda ayudarlos a ellos, ayudarnos
If
a
we don't do
nosotros,
something soon to help them,
básicamente los empleos se van a empezar a perder y con ellos nuestra ciudad.
basically, if this happens, then the employments are going to start getting lost, and with that, our city.
Escuché a alguien decir que era muy caro los permisos y las regulaciones, pero
I
dice,
heard someone saying that the permits were too expensive and the regulations.
pero yo vengo de una familia de negociantes y mi abuela siempre decía que si no hay dinero para pagar los permisos, ¿qué estamos haciendo en la calle?
But I come from a business a family with a business background, and my grandmother used to say, if we don't have that money to pay for the permits, then what are we doing?
Creo que las raíces de todo esto básicamente se regresan a que aquí los inmigrantes son pensados como gente del campo, gente de
Basically
jardín.
here, what we go back to is that sometimes when we think about immigrants, we think about people from the field.
Pero nunca se habla de aquellos que han luchado un poquito más,
But we never talk about those who have fought a little bit more.
los que han enraizado en esta tierra y han podido crear un fruto que son los trabajos.
The ones who have been able to plant their roots here and being able to have their business.
Y sin ellos la comunidad inmigrante no estuviera creciendo.
And without them, the immigrant community would not be growing.
Sin ellos no estaríamos aquí el día de hoy.
If we wouldn't have them, we would not be here today.
Cuando yo llegué a este país, nosotros, mi familia, toda trabajó para alguien como yo, alguien que creó un negocio.
When we arrived to this country, my family and myself, we all worked for someone like me, someone who had a business.
Así que yo puedo decirles que tener un negocio y crear trabajos hace que nuestra comunidad crezca más fuerte.
So what I can tell you is having a business and creating employment, this makes our community stronger.
Yo crecí y estudié aquí.
I grew up here and I studied here.
A mí se me enseñó que teníamos que seguir la ley
I was taught that we have to follow the law.
y a mí se me enseñó que si luchaba podía hacer lo que yo quisiera.
And I was taught that if I fought, then I was able to do whatever I wanted.
Y así comencé mi negocio.
And that's how I started my own business.
Así que, como muchos de nosotros, creo que no es justo decir que es difícil. Nosotros sabemos que es difícil.
So like many of us, we know, I don't think it's fair to say that it's difficult. We all know it is very difficult.
Nosotros ya estuvimos ahí. Nosotros ya probamos eso.
We've been there. We've tried that.
Y lo hicimos y aquí estamos.
We've done it and now we're here.
Siguiendo las leyes, los permisos, todo lo que se tiene que regular y pagar.
Following the law, doing the permits, and making all the payments on things that we have to comply.
Así que no creo justo que llegue alguien a decir, no se puede, es difícil, y que
So
le
I
hagan
don't
las
think
cosas
it's-
fáciles.
So I don't think it's fair for someone to come here and say, you cannot do it, it's not easy, and so then we have to do things easier for them.
Sí se puede, por eso estamos aquí.
You can do it, that's why we're here.
Si quieren información, creo que los demás restaurantes y yo mismo podemos ayudarlos.
If you want information, I think the other restaurants and myself, we can help them.
Si quieren ser parte de nuestra comunidad,
If they want to be part of our community,
que apoyen a nuestra comunidad,
they have to support our community.
que paguen sus impuestos en nuestra comunidad,
They have to pay for our taxes to our community.
que paguen sus permisos para que así juntos crezcamos como una comunidad. Crezcamos como una comunidad.
They have to pay for their permits so that way we all together we can grow as a community.
Sí nos podemos unir,
We can unite,
porque aquí estamos todos los dueños de restaurantes.
because we're all here, the owners of the restaurants.
Y si quieren los de las carretas, también se pueden unir a nosotros.
And even from the cards, all of you, you can also unite with us.
Siempre y cuando quieran coexistir con nosotros, pagando sus permisos, sus impuestos y todas las regulaciones como nosotros lo hacemos.
But if you want to coexist with us, then you have to pay your taxes, your regulations, your permits, and everything else, just like we do.
¿Quieren ser parte de Coachella? Sean bienvenidos, los recibimos, pero
want to be
sean
part-
parte de Coachella completamente.
You want to be part of Coachella? Welcome. We give you the welcome, but you have to be part of Coachella fully, paying everything you have to pay.
Porque Coachella somos todos.
Because Coachella, we are all Coachella,
Y ustedes también lo pueden ser.
and you can also be part of Coachella.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Israel Valdés, soy dueño de Pérez Market, doy empleo
Good
a...
evening. Good evening. My name is Perez Várquez, and I am the owner of. Señor, ¿cuál fue el nombre de su
Pérez
negocio?
Market.
Pérez Market.
Doy trabajo a 14 familias, se podría decir, son 14 personas que
I
dependen de ahí.
employ 14 people, so I employ 14 families.
Y como hemos escuchado, las inquietudes de todos nosotros es
And like we have
el
heard
impacto que
from
han
all of
tenido.
us, is the impact that we all have had.
Entonces, ahorita nosotros como empresarios, se puede decir, el temor es que nuestros negocios se vayan abajo y con
So,
ello
as
dejar a
business-
familias desamparadas, ¿verdad? Porque
So as
primeramente,
señor, un segundito, por favor. So as business owners, one of our fears is that if our businesses close down, then we're not going to be able to give employment to these families.
primeramente bajarán ventas, empezarán a haber despidos y créanme que son personas que han estado con uno.
First, the sales are going to go down. Then we're going to have to fire people, and believe me, these are people who have been with us,
Y que se nos romperá el corazón decirles que ya no hay trabajo.
and that it would be heartbreaking for us to tell them that there's no more work,
Y créanlo que eso es muy difícil.
and this is very hard.
Las demás inquietudes de mis compañeros, yo sé que como dice aquí el joven del tranvía,
All the
Podemos
other
coexistir.
concerns from my colleagues, like the owner from the Tranvía was saying, we can coexist,
pero primeramente que cumplan con todos los requisitos que se requieren.
but they all need to comply with all the requirements that are needed.
Y como dijo el joven Jason Hernández, esa aseguranza es muy importante, así que no tienen por qué quitarla, tienen que ponerla, porque todos tenemos esa aseguranza por cualquier eventualidad de accidentes.
So like Jason Hernandez mentioned, that insurance is very important, and they should not be taking it away because this insurance is very important.
Y créanme que 1 millón no es nada, porque si supieran lo que uno paga de aseguranza,
And believe me, because 1 million is nothing. If you would know how much we pay for the insurance,
yo pago 5 millones.
I pay 5 million.
Entonces, otro de los aspectos muy importantes de esos requerimientos que está pidiendo la ciudad
The requirements that the city is asking for
están muy bien,
are very well.
pero también quiero ver que lo más importante, que
But I
casi no,
also want to see that one of the most important things that
créanme que no creo que ningún puesto pase las inspecciones de salubridad en este condado.
believe me, I really don't think that any of these street vendors are going to be able to pass the things from the health department.
No sé si alguno de ustedes tenga experiencia en restaurantes,
I don't know if any of you has any experience with restaurants,
pero el Health Department nos pide un cuchillo para cada tipo de carne, ave o marisco.
But the health department requires for us to have one knife for each meat, bird, or seafood.
Temperaturas,
Temperatures.
control de calidad de los productos que recibimos.
We have to have quality control of the items that we receive.
En fin, es una lista interminable, ¿verdad? Ni se
It's a very long list.
Ni se digan en cuanto a higiene personal.
And there's even more with personal hygiene.
Y esos puestos, sinceramente, pues yo quisiera que tuvieran todos esos requerimientos, pero no serán posibles, ¿verdad? Ni menos
And
estando
to
en
be
la
honest
calle.
with you, those street vendors are really, I would like them to be able to do it, but I don't think it's going to be able to comply with them, and more when they're on the street.
Yo recibo 2 visitas al año por el Health Department hace 3 semanas.
I receive 2 visits from the health department a year, and 3 weeks ago,
Recibí la encargada de inspeccionar mi tienda.
the person who's in charge to inspect my store
Me tiró productos de un deli porque no daba temperatura con un valor de más de $1,000.
threw away some of the products that I had because she said that it was not at the right temperature,
Por
and that
un
was
error.
more than $1,000, and it was because of one mistake.
Por un error de ella,
It was it was her mistake.
cuando le demostré su error, su respuesta fue, I'm so sorry.
Then when I showed her that she had made a mistake, her reply was, "I'm so sorry."
Ok, eso es por el lado del Departamento de Salud, ¿verdad? En cuanto a otra inquietud, acá el muchacho dice que
That's on the health department. And my other concern, this gentleman here was saying
ellos están en favor de los inmigrantes. Nosotros
That there
también
are-
somos inmigrantes.
that they're in favor of immigrants, but we're also immigrants.
Y pues solamente quiero que también otra de la inquietud que estaba escuchando de los compañeros, que estas ordenanzas, si van a ser escuchadas o escritas o que sea lo más pronto posible, porque parece ser que muchos de ellos ya están en problemas ya difíciles que no se van a poder resolver si esperan 2, 3, 4, 6, un año. Esto tiene que empujarse lo más pronto posible.
And another of the concerns that I was listening is about having an ordinance pretty soon, because I see that some of my friends here are in a point where they're not going to be able to survive much longer. So this cannot take more like 2, 4, 6, 1 year.
Y pues eso es todo y muchas gracias y pues esperamos su pronta respuesta, ¿verdad? Y pasen buenas noches.
Well, and I think this is it, and we wait for your soon response, and have a good night.
Regrese otra vez. El señor dijo, ok, un minuto nomás. No, ok. Está bien. Le quedan al señor un minuto. ¿Lo puedo tomar? ¿Lo puedo tomar?
Anybody else would like to address the commission?
Good evening to all the panel. My name is Armando Martinez. I'm a resident of Coachella, a community leader, and also a business owner here in the city of Coachella. I am here today to address concerns and worries that both residents and the business communities have in regards to the street vendors. That letter that Gabriel passed out to each one of you, and I apologize for making very little copies. I did not know the number of the panel. But that was given to the City Council on October the 25th. And 31 brick and mortar and businesses signed that letter of concern, stating their concerns and worries about the issue that's been going around the city of Coachella. And as you may know, the current issue with street vendor is a very delicate subject to speak and to talk about for both parties, those that are for it and those that are against it. And I want to be respectful of everybody's time here today. I know it's a little bit late already. There is 3 key element topics I will address briefly today. And I did bring some pictures, and hopefully IT can put those up. It doesn't matter what order.
Provided earlier on the screen.
Okay, this is one of the issues about street vendors. This is a location here in Coachella with the taquero that posts up the site and the Chevron gas station. As you can see, after his shift is done, the trash that stays right there, neither the owner of the Chevron station or the street vendor really takes into account the trash is being left behind. Obviously, that's going to be a problem for the city of Coachella. That trash is going to get blown away into the streets, into the residents' property, and that's some issue that's going to cause problems with the city of Coachella. We'll move on to the other slide, please.
Go to the next picture, please.
Okay, this is a slide of a fruit vendor here in the city of Coachella. And give me a second. As you can see, that fruit vendor sets up the corner of many complaints from the residents. Notice how he takes up, well, okay, here we moved. Can we go back to the other one, please?
Can we go back before that one too?
Okay, right there. This fruit vendor that sets up, notice how he takes complete control and entirely blocks the sidewalk. And I've seen mothers with their children after school get off the sidewalk onto the street to go around this vendor. And just to set up there where, and not only that, but he also, there's a veteran that lives right there in an electric wheelchair. He cannot have access to that sidewalk. He has to use a crosswalk to use the other sidewalk due to the fact that this gentleman actually takes control of that sidewalk. Can we go to the next slide, please?
We can go back to that. Here we go.
This is another vendor that sets up, and as you can see, one of the gentlemen also mentioned about the grease that gets poured onto the sidewalk, and that's an example of that. You can visually see how the sidewalk is actually getting dirty as the days go by, the weeks go by, and obviously that's going to be an issue for the city. It's going to cost money to the city to go and clean that up, and that's something to take in mind and consider of the damage that they present at the time they do their operations vending on the sidewalk. We'll go to the next slide, please. This is a vendor that sets up right here in Parque de Oro, right there by Cesar Chavez Monument. Many complaints, residents have noticed that many ongoing drivers that are coming from east to west, they park their vehicles as they're making the four-way stop. They get off the vehicle to purchase product from this vendor, and that right there is causing a congestion of traffic. And let's just say one of these days, this driver decides to park his vehicle right there. And the driver behind that vehicle gets off. They get in an altercation, road rage, okay? Now, we don't know if the driver behind the car is carrying a concealed weapon. He takes out that weapon, shoots that driver, the front one, and what happens there? Would that be a lawsuit for the city of Coachella, or who's gonna pay the damages on that scenario? And that's just something to look forward to the future to prevent from happening in the city of Coachella. And let's go to the other slide, please. This right here, this is a taquero that sets up his shop right there in the gas station. Now, whether he has a rental agreement with the gas station owner, that's none of my business. The fact of the matter is, there is a concern that he's operating open flames right there within the premises of the gas station. And that right there, I believe there is no fire marshal that will, approve of that. That's a concern that the community also has in regards to street vendors working by the gas stations. And we'll go to the last one.
Sir, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll make it briefly then. That's fine.
I think that's it.
I'll close my statement, and I want to thank the whole panel. Thank you for your time and patience and for letting me express the concerns and worries of the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Salvador Flores y soy.
Hi, my name is Salvador Flores.
Soy un ice cream truck. Es mi nombre, bueno, el nombre del ice cream truck es Flores Ice Cream.
And I have an ice cream truck. The name of the ice cream truck is Flores Ice Cream.
Y yo, como todos mis compañeros que son también ice creams, quiero que nos den un tipo de permiso que podamos entrar o acercarnos a los parques.
And like the rest of the people who have ice cream, I'm also here to ask for a way that we can have a permission to get closer to the parks.
Y pues también quiero decirles que también hay muchos carritos de golf vendiendo muchas cosas en los parques.
And I also want to tell you that there are many golf carts selling different things in the parks.
En los dos parques se encuentran muchos carritos de golf vendiendo y no sé si también haya permiso para eso.
In both parks, there are many golf carts selling things, and I don't know if there's a permit for that.
Y lo único que quiero es que nos valoren porque es muy difícil el trabajo que hacemos cada día.
And what I want you to know is that I'm asking you to see what we are worth and what we go through every single day because of our work is very hard.
Tenemos vida personal y aparte trabajamos mucho para poder pagar nuestros impuestos, permisos, gasolina. Los productos están muy caros.
We have a personal life and we work very hard to be able to pay for the taxes, the permits, the gas, and the product is also very expensive.
Y sería todo y muchas gracias por escucharnos.
And that will be it, and thank you for listening to us.
Hi, good afternoon, panel. My name's Oscar Gutierrez with Plaza Garibaldi Restaurant. I just want to congratulate on having us all here together, most of the hardworking people here in the city of Coachella. We've been in this, we've been battling this not a little bit, it's been going on for years. We had recommended as businesses for the city to apply the cottage permits and all the other stuff way before this got really out of hand. All my colleagues here are some of the hardest working people. And we've been in this for a while. But all we ask for is for you guys to be fair, for them, for whoever is not doing the right things, and for us to give us some compassion also. We have gone through a lot of strain, pandemics, losses, whatever it is. We recommend that this happen fair and fast because we don't know what this direction is going. This has been getting out of hand. It's been too many years. This is the only thing that we ask for. And make it quick. Whatever you guys are going to decide or recommend to the panel, make it quick and fair. And that's it. And gracias a todos por estar unidos, porque sí nos hace falta, no nada más es uno, somos muchos. Y en esta comunidad, todos somos esenciales.
And thank you for everyone for being united because we are all essential in this community and we love each other.
Aunque somos competidores, pero todos sabemos dónde está el lugar.
Even though we are competing against each other, we all know where is our place.
Todos nos vamos a unir para que todo esto sea bien hecho y que a todos nos convenga.
We're all going to unite, so this is done the right way and that we are all going to have something good out of it.
Tanto como la ciudad como los negociantes, porque de todos dependemos de todos, la ciudad, todos dependemos de todos.
For the city and for the business owners, because we all depend on each other.
Okay, gracias.
Okay, thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Mariana. También soy
Good
dueña de
evening, my name is Mariana.
También soy dueña de restaurante en Coachella.
I'm also an owner here in Coachella of a restaurant.
Y estoy aquí también porque también estoy siendo afectada por los taqueros ambulantes. Al
And
principio,
I'm also here because I'm also being affected by the street vendors.
al principio yo pensé que nada pasaba porque eran pocos, pero ahorita hay uno en cada esquina, se puede decir.
In the beginning, I thought that nothing was going to happen, but, because they were few, but now there is almost one on every corner.
Y pues también estoy siendo afectada igual que mis compañeros.
And it's also affecting me like them.
Pues nada más les pido de favor, pues hagan algo al respecto con la situación y
And I'm here to ask you to please do something regarding the situation.
pues sería todo. Buenas noches.
And that will be it. Good night.
Any more speakers I'd like to address the commission? Okay, it's 7:52. We're closing the public comment, going on to the next item on the agenda.
Is there discussion afterwards?
If anybody if any other commissioners want to discuss, you have an opportunity at the end of the agenda during your director comments.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, going to the next item on the agenda, non-hearing items. We're going on to number 2, tentative track map, number 37088, second time extension request, a request for a second 12-month time extension for a tentative track map number 37088, Ravella, to allow a 110-unit, single-family residential subdivision, a total of 20 acres of vacant land in a RS-PD Tourist Commercial Plan Unit Development Zone located on the northwest corner of Avenue 50 in Calhoun. Director, go ahead.
Okay, and I have a brief presentation, so we'll pull that up. Okay, thank you, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. This item is a request for a one-year time extension for tentative track map 37088 called the Ravella Project. Next slide. It's for subdivision of 115 homes at the northwest corner of Avenue 50 and Calhoun Street. So this is the parcel. It's surrounded by mostly residential uses. The site is currently vacant. Part of the project has been developed, which includes the Tower Market and the Borrego Clinic. The site is 20 acres. Some background on this, the reason why they're before the Planning Commission today, the Subdivision Map Act or the Municipal Code does, after 24 months, the tract map expires, and the Planning Commission can grant up to 3 one-year time extensions. And the applicant did request a time extension this year, which allows them to have their tentative tract map up to January 13th of 2024, and they're requesting a one-year time extension to 2025. Just a little bit more about the development proposal. It is on 20 acres again, 115 single-family residential lots. The lot sizes range from 2,000 square feet to a maximum size of 3,789 square feet. Access to the project will be from Avenue 50, and there's another driveway off of Calhoun Street. The entire project site is 4 lots, and I mentioned 2 of the sites are already developed with the health clinic and Tower Market. There's one commercial pad that hasn't been developed yet. This was the overall master plan for that project, so it's changed slightly since that time. The Borrego Health Clinic is in a different configuration than what was originally approved years ago, but the residential portion has not developed yet. This is what the tentative tract map looks like. and the proposed phasing. So this would be one of the last phases as presented. It would be a cluster project with, I mentioned the lots are smaller in size than the typical 7,000 square foot lot. They would have a shared large driveway in a cluster format. And these were this is the architecture of the homes that were proposed with the subdivision, 2-story homes. There was an environmental assessment prepared for this project and certified. So staff recommends the Plan Commission approve the resolution provided to you to extend the tentative track map for 1 more year to January 13, 2025. That's the end of my staff report. If you have questions, happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, Director.
Question, is this the same one that we extended a couple months ago?
Yes, So they were extended to January 2024. So that's coming up, right? So they have to request an extension before, their time is up.
And if I remember correctly, they only have 3 extensions, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So they have 1 more after this one if you grant it.
Is the applicant here?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Cool, I'd like to motion that we extend tentative track map number 37088, second time extension request. Can I get a second motion?
I'll second that.
Can we get a roll call, Director?
Commissioner Ramirez? Can you hear me? Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Murillo?
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez?
Yes.
And Commissioner Arvizu?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, going on next item on the agenda, 3, Coachella pre-approved ADUE plan. Adopt resolution number PC 2023-09 to adopt a pre-approved accessory dwelling unit ADU plan project for proposal of establishing pre-approved plans available for the public to reduce costs and streamline the review process to develop of an accessory dwelling unit to increase housing supply in the city of Coachella. Applicant, city initiated.
Okay, Chair and Plan Commission, I'm going to make this presentation pretty quick. You've seen most of this presentation at the last meeting, but this is to be able to approve pre-approved plans essentially for accessory dwelling units. Currently, residents have to develop their own plans and get the permits for them. The big cost usually is in the design of these accessory dwelling units, but we did receive a grant to be able to increase housing supply. And one of the best ways to be able to do that is with accessory dwelling units that do count as affordable housing to the state. And so one of the big costs are design. It can cost in the thousands of dollars. So with this grant, we can help save those costs to the residents by having those pre-approved plans. Also, it would also save them time in having them plan checked by the city. So I'll go through them. So we mentioned there were 6 plan types that were approved for accessory dwelling units, and 5 of them are detached units, and then 1 of them is for a garage conversion, and the sizes range from 480 square feet to 1,000 square feet. At the last Plan Commission, there were some recommendations to make some revisions. One of those, I'll actually go over them pretty quickly. So there was a Desert Modern design that we requested to see what that would look like in a flat roof design instead of the slope roof. We did talk to the designer, and the designer says you need to choose one or the other. There's not enough of a budget to do both. And so that is before the Plan Commission to see if you have a preference for one or the other. The other is just to refine this design on the Plan 4 to add just a simple decorative feature in the area that looked sort of plain at the first initial design on the front elevation of this unit. The next was the garage conversion. So there, under state law, you can convert a garage into an accessory dwelling unit as long as it has its own separate entrance. And so at the last Plan Commission meeting, there was concern of having an entrance right off the front of the garage and moving that to the side. So the designer did do that. And you can see below what that looks like, removing the door. Now, I did express to the designer today that that there's some imbalance with the windows. And they did mention there's a certain size that's required for the windows under like the building code. So what was recommended, and I recommended to them, is that we would have a discussion with the Planning Commission today. But what's missing, I think, here is having some pop-outs like trim, or even some like shutters that are kind of what you typically would see for some of these newer homes. So that is my recommendation, is that we approve these designs, but allow me to work with the designer to make sure that we can have those enhancements included. And this is these are the different plans I presented. So I'm going to go through these real quick since you did see this last time. This shows what the front elevations would look like for the Plan 1, which is 480 square feet, but this also shows the new flat roof design. Plan 1 with this architecture, the second with the modern, now the flat roof design, and then the last is the Spanish colonial revival design. Plan 2 is a 504 square feet detached unit with 1 bedroom. And so there are 3 different architectural types, but we did have the flat roof design included for the Desert Modern. Here is the Mission Revival design, the modern design with the slope roof, the modern design with the flat roof, and the Spanish Colonial Revival design with the red tile roof. There's the Plan 3, 774 square feet, a little bit more rectangular in shape. This actually accommodates 3 bedrooms, and the different architectural types again, Mission, Desert Modern, Spanish, and then the version of the flat roof for the Desert Modern. Then the Plan 3 in the Mission Revival design, the Plan 3 also with the Desert Modern slope roof versus the flat roof, and then last the Spanish Colonial Revival design with the red tile roof. The Plan 4, 806 square feet, this is a 2-bedroom unit, and here is what's proposed. It already included a flat room design, if you remember last time, but the only change here is just that architectural feature for the Spanish colonial design. Just a quick look at each of the architectural plans and elevations. The flat roof design, so there's no alternate here. And then Plan 4, the Spanish colonial revival design. And then Plan 5, we're almost at the end, the detached unit, which is 2 bedrooms, but this is a larger size of 3 bedrooms of 1,000 square feet. This one's a little bit more ornate with more changes in the roof structure and the Mission Revival, Desert Modern, and the Spanish Colonial Revival design. Here's the more detail with the Mission Revival elevations, the Desert Modern elevations, flat roof, Spanish Colonial elevations, and then lastly, the garage conversion. And so this is what the floor plan would look like for the garage conversion, which would include a bedroom separated from the kitchen and living room, dining area. So in this plan, it originally had the entrance coming from the front of the elevation. So that was moved to the side. So at the top, again, I'm showing you what it looked like with the entrance at the front. When you remove the garage door, put it in a wall, and you put in 2 windows, we removed that entry door and put it at the side of the garage, and below is what it would look like. So we do want to work on a few more refinements to just provide some more architectural compatibility with likely what the rest of the home is going to look like. So, and last thing I forgot to mention is that's a 400 square foot design, but it could be modified based on the CAD drawings that would be provided free to the public. So the recommendation I have is that the Plan Commission adopt the resolution approving these plan types, and then allow me the ability to work with the designer on the final design of the garage conversion. Happy to answer any
So a
questions.
couple questions on the Spanish colonial. Does the public have to use concrete or clay tile, or could they use shingles? Because I'm saying, you're gonna build that behind your house, the house has shingles, and we're gonna require them to put tile on it. So it's not really gonna jive with the.
Yeah, and maybe Lisandro might be able to weigh in on this too, but the way that these plans are being designed, it's where everything's kind of assessed in the full set of plans. And so I'm assuming you could probably do that, but it's gonna require some modification to the full plan set that we're gonna have available to the public.
I think it would make sense to give them that option to kind of match their existing house if they have shingles, and then put tile if they have tile.
They could decide to do that, but they're gonna have to work on the designer to do that. I don't think we have enough time or the budget to have an option that already has that designed into their
I'm just saying
plans.
that the city would require it to change it.
No, these are just patterns for them to use, and they can do as they wish and design as they wish.
Yeah, they
Correct?
modify the template.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
they can modify it.
also the windows on the garage conversions, they have to be a certain square foot anyway to meet Title 24, so I don't know what certain sizes are.
That was my understanding. I thought the windows were too big. I told him, hey, can we reduce the
they have
size? And he explained, well, there's not much you can do with the building code here.
Well, I mean, the average garage is a little under 500 square feet, so they have to meet the Title 24 also on a garage conversion, so the windows have to be a certain size.
Right.
Perfect. I have just one question. Do we have a launch date?
So this is the plan, is once this is approved, these plans right now are in plan check, like the full plan set, so you're only seeing, all the elevation designs and the floor plans. So that's in plan check. I'm assuming probably be done by December-ish? By next week.
Perfect.
So, so we need to update the website with all the user-friendly information. And so my expectation is that it'd be up by January 15th.
Nice.
And so in time for the new year, a lot of people
Very
to access
good.
it.
Kudos.
Okay, perfect. Do we have
I'd like to motion to adopt resolution number PC 2023-29, Coachella pre-approved ADU plan project.
do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, roll call.
Do we need to
Person?
add that little caveat to allow you the flexibility to work with and allow the director the flexibility to work with the architect?
To complete the
We got a second on the motion?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
second the motion.
Get a roll call, George?
Okay, Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Arvizu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
and Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, going on to the next item, public hearing calendar, quasi judicial, conditional use permit number 371, La Noria Fonda, Sindulia, to allow liquor sales as part of proposed 2,646 square feet restaurant, La Noria Fonda, for the ABC license type 41 on sale of beer and wine in an existing commercial building located at 49613 Cesar Chavez Street in the CG General Commercial Zone. Your presentation.
Hello, good evening, Commissioners and Chair.
Thank you.
My name is Avalara. I'm the planning technician, and I'm here to present the CUP, or Conditional Use Permit 371 for La Noria Fonda Senaduría, for Ms. Ana Gabriela Cota, who spoke earlier. So this is to allow a liquor sales as part of a proposed restaurant for an ABC Type 41 license for an on-sale beer and wine in an existing commercial building. So the vicinity for the location, this is located at 49613 Cesar Chavez Street. The general plan designation is neighborhood center, and the zoning is in a general commercial zone. So this is the location of the restaurant. It is behind the Taco Mark and in between Cesar Chavez Street and Park Lane. So La Noria Fonda Senaduría has been in service for 8 years in the same location. The owner has not served alcohol since the inception to maintain the restaurant alcohol-free and family-oriented. However, due to recent decline in sales, the applicant believes that serving beer and wine will boost sales. So the applicant attributes the recent decline in sales to the increase of street vendors that sell food and believes that adding wine will help increase the customer base. So this establishment is within Census Tract 9404, where ABC concentration standards allow a maximum of 5 on-sale licenses, where 17 are currently active. But if you take a look at the census tract, only 4 of those are in tribal land and 1 is in Indio. So technically that would leave to 12 within the city of Coachella. So when it is determined by ABC of an undue concentration of on-sale licenses, the Planning Commission must make findings that the public convenience or necessity justifies the issuance of the liquor license to the establishment. In this case, one of the criteria that we look at is that the on-sale establishment may not fall within 700 feet from a church, a school, a park, a playground, a residence, or any other existing on-sale use as they measured from property line to property line. In this case, we do have a couple of establishments that fall within that 700 radius, which is the Sushi and Mariscos Guamuchil restaurant, the Taqueria Allende, and Carnitas La Piedad. Just so if you look at the map, those are all like in separate shopping centers. So her restaurant is within her own shopping center that doesn't have any type 41 on sale alcohol. The other one is that it is also within a 700 feet of a church, but I put the church there. It's that big red square. So if you look at it, you'd have to travel a long way. There's no direct line to go from the restaurant, from the site to the actual church, so it's kind of far away. And it is also abutting the Coachella Mobile Home Park, so it's right next door to the restaurant. Another criteria that we look at is that, let me change the slide, that no greater than 5% of the sales floor area or 1,000 square feet, whichever is less, shall be used for the display of the sale of alcoholic beverages. So the display and storage does not exceed 5%, nor the 1,000 square feet, only utilizing 2% of the floor area. So this picture shows you where the fridge for the beer is going to be located. And it is, so she built the walls to partition to somewhat obscure the alcohol within the restaurant. So we also concluded that the establishment provides benefits to the immediate neighborhood, as it is it is one of the only establishments in the city of Coachella serving food and in an outdoor patio experience, so dining experience. It is also important to note that this is not a bar or a club establishment. It's more like a restaurant, so they're just going to go have a drink and then, head out. All right. So this is the patio. It's fully enclosed, and this is it's actually been inspected by ABC and the fire department, and they both approved the patio. So in order to limit the restrictions on the patio, the conditions of we added something to the conditions of approval to contain 2 items. So number 10, No alcoholic beverages are allowed outside of the patio area. All alcoholic beverages should be within the compound. And number 11, outdoor patio noise should be kept to a minimum to avoid disturbances to the abutting residential mobile home park. So the hours of operation will be Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., Friday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., and the patio hours, Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. So Lieutenant Vasquez from the Sheriff's Department did not identify any concerns with the business and does not recommend any conditions of approval. So the staff will recommend that the Planning Commission approve conditional use permit number 371 with the findings and conditions listed in Resolution 2023-27. So that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm available, and Ana is also available.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
We have a motion.
Does the applicant want to say something?
It's a public hearing item, so you need to open public comment.
Okay, so let me open the public comment at 8:17. We have any public comments?
Are you gonna need the interpreter too, if I speak in Spanish right now?
I actually don't know if they're still on. Is the
Ah, sí
interpreter
puedo,
still?
puedo, es que mi inglés no está bien.
No,
¿Está bien así, no?
Sí, ok.
En español, inglés.
Oh, ¿en inglés?
En español o inglés.
Oh,
como
ok.
guste.
Solo espero
Lo bueno
que...
que podemos entender, gracias.
Bien,
por estar
gracias,
aquí.
muchas gracias. Y ya sé que estuve un poquito rebelde ahorita en la junta, pero es que la desesperación ya de las ventas y ahora me toca bajar la guardia para que me aprueben el permiso, ¿verdad? Lo que pasa es que ya, de verdad tengo 8 años ahí, ya. Me he rehusado a vender cerveza y vino y todos los restauranteros amigos míos, hey, pero ahí está tu venta, ahí está tu ganancia. No, así estoy bien. Y no es porque sea cristiana, o sea, soy católica, pero no porque sea cristiana o algo, no, estaba tan a gusto. Y siempre decía esto, estoy tan a gusto sin la plebada del movimiento alterado. O sea, de verdad estoy bien a gusto sin ellos, ¿verdad? Los respeto y van a comer ahí, pero se portan bien cuando van. Pero esta vez, de verdad que ya no se puede, o sea, tengo que hacer algo para no cerrar. Y por eso es que yo voy a seguir teniendo el family environment, eso lo prometo, porque eso, de hecho, en mi restaurante no dejo, aunque yo la pueda escuchar en mi casa, yo en mi restaurante no dejo que pongan música de banda, de verdad. Y a mí me gusta, pero en mi casa, porque yo sé lo que a veces el ambiente y las emociones, cuando escuchan banda, salen con la troca quemando llanta. Yo ya me la sé y todo eso lo he estado evitando por 8 años. Pero ahorita sí necesito, tengo 8 años con el restaurante y todavía no me puedo comprar una casa, todavía vivo en un departamento. Yo ya tengo que hacer algo y por eso voy a sacar el permiso, pero me están diciendo que me van a dar permiso. Si a los street vendors los van a dejar hasta la 1:30 de la mañana y a mí me van a cerrar a las 10:30. Yo entiendo que en el patio yo no voy a vender cerveza más allá de las 10:30. Voy a hacer el last call antes de las 10:30, decir, si van a comprar cerveza, compren, pero ya no voy a venderles. Entiendo en el patio porque tengo las trailas atrás, pero adentro, no sé si me puedan dejar hasta las 11:30, nomás viernes y sábado. O sea, que me dejaran viernes y sábado. Porque la gente a veces está tan a gusto platicando adentro. En mi restaurante, de verdad, está medio cozy, medio suave. Y pues no quiero ser, no critico a los demás, pero no voy a ser como algo así, como algo que provoque, ustedes saben, en los ambientes que tratamos de evitar. De hecho, va a ser viernes de música oldies y sábados de música pop y de bolero. Y el domingo creo que pues ese cerramos temprano, como a las 9:10. De todas maneras, aquí Coachella todo el mundo se va a dormir los domingos tempranos, o no hay movimiento. Ya empezamos poniendo música oldies, pero no vamos a estar loud, entendemos. Y luego también los de las trailers rapidito van a hablar para hacer complaint. O sea, nosotros ya sabemos, nomás quiero que si los viernes y sábados me dejan hasta las 11:30. Pero, bueno, ya con que me dejen y ya no me pidan más requerimientos, ya no tengo dinero, muchachos, ya no tengo. Que le ponga esto, yo ya, aunque yo sé que el propietario es el que tiene que arreglar, en caso de que arregle, el propietario me va a decir a mí, yo no tengo dinero, si tú quieres vender cerveza, tú arréglalo. Eso es lo que me va a decir el árabe. Y yo ya no, y me voy a quedar atorada, pues. Y nomás quiero que analicen mi intención de que nunca ha sido tener un restaurante y vender cerveza y michelada. No, yo tengo 8 años vendiendo pura comida, pero ahora sí necesito salir del hoyo donde estoy. Porque aquí mi compañera, que es dueña de Aldos, me tuvo que hacer un préstamo para sobrevivir el verano. Así de mal estamos. Entonces, sí, les pido poquita consideración. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Sandra. I have a question for staff. As far as can we go back to the slide about the hours? Were those
Yes.
hours suggested by the applicant or were those suggested by the staff?
It was suggested by the applicant, so both the patio hours and the hours within the restaurant are different.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see.
She asked to extend the hours.
That was just, the condition was indoors or outdoors?
That was the
So
only thing.
she's requesting that indoors,
Yeah, no, I
Friday
understand.
and Saturday, I'll go to 11:30.
Oh.
Yeah, so just 2 days.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I
So
think
as
Yeah.
proposed, right?
Yeah, it was already proposed.
It was
correct?
proposed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, we,
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
indoors, it's good.
And
And
give her more if you
I
want.
think what we have to clarify is to make sure that
It's a-
they're drinking outside, that they're staying in that subject area, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, that's why she's trying to close earlier in the patio, an hour earlier.
Understood.
Perfect.
Yeah, we
I think-
appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So
Okay.
we have a motion to
Sure.
approve.
Chair, we're still at public hearing,
Oh,
so
that's
I'll ask
right.
if there's any more public.
Any-
Okay, so let's see if we have any more public comments. Do we have any public comments on this subject?
Okay.
No public comments. We're closing public comments at 8:23.
Cool, I'd like to motion to adopt the resolution number PC 2023-27, approving conditional use permit number 371 with the findings and conditions as recommended by staff.
Do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Roll call, Chairman. Director?
Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Arvizu,
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
Motion
Thank you.
passes.
Okay.
Felicidades. Pasó. Buena suerte.
Mucha suerte.
Éxito.
Okay, going to the next item on the public hearing calendar, quasi judicial. Last item on the agenda, Sunrise Self-Storage Conditional Use Permit number 369, Architectural Review, 23-06, Environmental Assessment, 23-05, Proposed an expansion of existing RV and storage facility on Highway 111 on the adjacent vacant 4.85 acre parcel at AP number 763-141-018 to construct 62,979 square feet of self-storage unit, RV storage space, covered parking canopies, and 900 square foot leasing office. Applicant Sunrise Self-Storage LLC, James Delhammer.
Hello, Planning Commission Chair and Commissioners. My name is Adrian Moreno, Associate Planner here at the City of Coachella, and I'll be presenting this item for you today. So, CUP Conditional Use Permit number 369, AR 2306, EIA 2305, Sunrise Self-Storage, proposes an expansion of their existing RV and self-storage facility at Highway 111 on an adjacent vacant 4.85 acre parcel at APN 763-141-018 to construct 62,979 square feet of self-storage units, RV storage spaces, covered parking canopies, and a 900 square foot leasing office. The applicant is Sunridge Self-Storage LLC. James Delhammer. We go into the next slide. So here is a vicinity map of the location of the item that I'm presenting today for Sunridge Self-Storage Project. It is west of Grapefruit Boulevard, Highway 111, north of Avenue 54, east of Tyler Street, and this parcel can be accessed through Tyler Lane. You can see it highlighted in the map here. The zoning for this parcel is manufacturing service. The general plan designation for this parcel is industrial district. The project applications, so there's conditional use permit number 369, which proposes mini storage warehouse and recreational vehicle storage uses, which are permitted in the manufacturing service zone, subject to a conditional use permit. There is also the architectural review component of this application. Architectural review number 2306 provides for the review of the proposed elevations, floor plans, and landscaping. And there is also environmental assessment 23-05, which includes preparation of a mitigated negative declaration to analyze the potential environmental impacts of the proposed project. Regarding the conditional use permit, per Chapter 17.30 MS Manufacturing Service Zone of the zoning ordinance, a maximum of 10% of the MS zone may be dedicated to recreational vehicle storage. The proposed project is 4.85 acres and would be added to the 15.11 acres of approved RV storage in the MS zone, bringing the total of, if approved, to 19.96 acres, about 6.1% of the 327.1 acres of the MS zone property within city limits. So if approved, it would be under the 10% maximum requirement per the MS zone for recreational vehicle storage. And there I just included a table of the other permitted recreational vehicle storage sites within the city. There is Lux Store and Coachella Self-Storage. On Oates Lane, there is the existing Sunridge Self-Storage on 53301 Grapefruit Boulevard, and the expansion that is here presented to you today at APN 763-141-018. And again, I just want to reiterate, it would be under the 10% maximum required in the zone. A bit of background, the site is a vacant parcel that was farmed for row crops up to the 1970s to 1980s. There are no structures or other improvements, and there's no business activity taking place. Section 17.30.020 of the Coachella Municipal Code, MS Manufacturing and Service Zone, requires a conditional use permit for all mini storage warehouse and recreational vehicle storage uses proposed in the MS zone. So here I'm presenting to you the site plan for the project's phase one. So this project is going to be split into two phases, phase one and phase two. For phase one, it will include the construction of a 900 square foot leasing office, 5 parking spaces, a trash enclosure, buildings 1 through 7, which is approximately 34,821 square feet of self-storage units, 60 temporary uncovered parking areas, fire access lane at the southeastern portion to connect to the eastern parcel, and there will also be a retention basin, which is also in the southeast portion of the parcel, and included in this phase will be the site fencing. In phase two, the 900 square foot leasing office would have been constructed per phase one, but it will also include the construction of buildings 8 through 11, which is approximately 28,152 square feet of self-storage units. There's going to be 71 covered RV storage spaces. There's going to be 4 canopy structures. To cover those RV storage spaces, and there will be, with the completion of phase two, secondary access at the northeast portion of the property, which provides 2 access points to the adjacent parcel. And I just do want to note that in the center of that site plan there is going to be 60 temporary uncovered parking areas. Those will be removed as part of going into phase two, where those 60 uncovered parking areas are going to be replaced with self-storage units, and there will be new covered parking areas to the right per phase two. So with the completion of the project, there will be a 900 square foot leasing office, 5 parking spaces, a trash enclosure, buildings 1 through 11. which includes 62,979 square feet of self-storage units, 71 covered RV storage spaces, 4 canopy structures covering those storage spaces, site fencing, retention basin, and the 2 access lanes to the eastern adjacent parcel. Here I did include site photos of the site, which I visited this past week to just give you a visual of what the site looks like. It is a vacant parcel at the end of the Tyler Lane entrance cul-de-sac there. And I did include a photo of me on the site taking a picture facing east on the site there. Regarding the self-storage units, floor plans, and elevations, I did highlight in red where those buildings 1 through 11 will be, which encompass the 62,979 square feet of self-storage units. There's going to be 449 individual self-storage units across those buildings 1 through 11. There's going to be 8 unit types that range from a small 5x5 self-storage unit and larger ones that go up to 20 by 20 square feet. So here I just showed the elevations. It's going to be a metal exterior for the self-storage unit. It is a desert tan color. And in the rear of those self-storage units is going to be CMU concrete masonry unit block to the design. So in the perimeter of the site, there's going to be the self-storage units, right? Facing the parcels that it's adjacent, you're going to see that block wall design. So yeah, that's just a visual of the elevations of the self-storage units proposed. Regarding on-site fencing, I did highlight the areas where there's going to be the wrought iron fencing for this project that's highlighted in yellow. Those portions, the perimeter of the parcel that aren't highlighted in yellow are going to be, those self-storage units, which, are on the perimeter. And I did highlight in red the 3 rolling gates that's going to provide access into the parcel and also into the adjacent parcel. So there's 2 on the east side, and then there is 1 at the entrance there near Tyler Lane. This is just a visual of the fencing. So it's going to be wrought iron fencing on the perimeter there. You can see concrete masonry unit pilasters. That's going to be, breaking up that wrought iron fence, and also a visual of the rolling gates for this project. And they're 6 feet in height, those fence. So there I included in red, I highlighted the RV canopies. There's going to be 4 desert tan canopies over 71 RV parking spaces. And here is also a visual of the leasing office and trash enclosure. On the top there, I included an exhibit of what that leasing office looks like. It is also a desert tan color, which matches, the overall site. I did include on the bottom what that trash enclosure looks like. And there, highlighted in red there, it's a bit hard to see, but on the lower left corner of the image, that will be where the leasing office is and the trash enclosure near the entrance of the site. For landscaping, this is a visual of where those landscape areas will be. There's 1 landscape area adjacent to the leasing office and 2 others near the parking area. There's 1 type of mulga tree that will be used. There's there on the site plan it shows 3 trees there. There will be several shrubs and plants and ground cover, including red bird of paradise. And also included in the bottom there is the retention basin, which will also include shrubs. So that would be the landscaping for the site, which is, at the retention basin and at the entrance for the site. And signage, this is a visual of the proposed signage. It looks very similar to what they have in the main self-storage site that's on Highway 111. The applicant shall modify the proposed signage plan to include individual channel lettering and logos in lieu of the proposed cabinet signs, and this was a condition of approval for the project, right? For parking in the MS zone, manufacturing service zone, 1 parking space shall be provided for each 400 square feet of unit area up to 20,000 square feet. The 900 square foot leasing office is required to provide 3 parking spaces at minimum, and 5 parking spaces are provided. So it does meet that minimum requirement from the leasing office. Typically for storage sites, you're going with your items, going through the rolling gates, going to your storage unit, driving up to it, putting your items in your storage unit and coming out. So there wouldn't be a necessitate, more parking, because when people come in, they're going to park at their storage units, drop off their items, close it up, and then, leave the site. So we did have, the 5 parking spaces are adequately provide parking for the site. So environmental assessment 2305, there was an initial study, mitigated negative declaration prepared, which reviews the environmental impacts of the site. Impacts determined not significant. There's a number of items there, including aesthetics, air quality, energy, utilities and service systems, and much more items that have been determined to be not significant. Impacts less than significant with mitigation are related to biological resources, cultural resources, and tribal cultural resources. We do have in the mitigated negative declaration mitigation monitoring program that will provide, provides those mitigation measures to so that the impacts are less than significant, right? To continue with environmental assessment 2305, pursuant to CEQA, EA environmental assessment 2305 was prepared to address the direct, indirect, and cumulative environmental effects of the proposed project. A 30-day public review period ran from October 15th to November 14th. A total of 7 comment letters were received. Including them are many of the tribes here in the Coachella Valley and a bit outside: Agua Caliente, Agustin Band of Cahuilla Indians, Mesa Grande Band of Mission Indians, Yuma Kichan Indians, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and Imperial Irrigation District. Responses to the comments to the initial study mitigated negative declaration received have been prepared, and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program has been prepared. So I do want to address the two packets that were provided to you earlier in the Planning Commission meeting, and this is in regards to and you'll see with the letter that begins with that California state insignia on the upper left corner. Staff received this letter from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife that requests the following revisions to the initial study mitigated negative declaration in regards to the following topics: nesting birds, burrowing owl, artificial nighttime lighting, landscaping, and environmental data. And we did provide this letter to the applicant, which the applicant responded with a response letter. Staff received a response letter from the applicant's team, Coachella Valley Engineers, that addresses the letter received from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, CDFW for short. The applicant agrees to revise the ISMD, which includes revising the following mitigation monitoring program items to include mitigation measure Bio 1, nesting birds, mitigation measure Bio A burrowing owl avoidance, and mitigation Bio B, which is artificial nighttime lighting. These are topics that were brought up by California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and this is something that the applicant will be addressing. And to continue, the applicant agrees to follow conditions of approval, these conditions of approval. So condition of approval number 64, final landscape plan shall incorporate xeriscaping with locally native California species, including species from CVMS HCP, Coachella Valley Multiple Species Habitat Conservation Plan, Table 4112, Coachella Valley native plants recommended for landscaping, Condition of approval number 65, final landscape plans shall incorporate water efficient and targeted irrigation systems, including drip irrigation. And condition of approval number 66, the project biologist, Vincent Sheet, shall report any special status species and natural communities detected during project surveys to the California Natural Diversity Database. So these items, these conditions of approval are the responses that the applicant did provide in order that they will address the comments that we received from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So with these mitigation measures, edits to the mitigation measures, and the conditions of approval, staff believes they are adequately addressing that letter and the concerns from California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And continuing to the next slide, staff's recommendation. Staff recommends to adopt resolution number PC 2023-31 to approve conditional use permit number 369, architectural review number 2306, and adopt a mitigated negative declaration for environmental assessment number 2305 with the findings and conditions as recommended by staff, and amend resolution PC 2023-31 Exhibit B, initial study mitigated negative declaration to include California Department of Fish and Wildlife's letter and Coachella Valley Engineers applicant response letter, and to amend resolution PC 2023-31 Exhibit A, conditions of approval to add environmental conditions 64, 65, and 66. These items were not included in the initial staff report and conditions of approval sent to the Planning Commission because we just received, the correspondence from California Department of Fish and Wildlife yesterday. With the applicant's work and staff's work, we are including those amendments and additional conditions of approval to meet the concerns that were brought up by California Department Fish and Wildlife. Right, and also in the other packet that begins with IID, those were other comments that were not, didn't have time to include in the staff report, but those were included, and those items from IID and SoCalGas were given to the staff. So that would be staff recommendation, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Perfect.
Thank you.
What's the units, current units that are existing?
Right, so I could go back, and in terms of the RV self-storage.
Yeah, the existing RV storage, or
Right.
facility, storage facility.
Oh, the existing right adjacent to it?
Yeah.
That is not something I'm familiar with, but maybe the applicant could pitch in
And how
on
many
that.
parking spaces do they have at the existing facility?
Right. I'm not familiar with that number, but the applicant is here who may be able to address that.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to know, and then how many are we proposing, and how many, you said we required 3 and they have 5.
Right.
My concern is that if there's adequate parking for all these units that are being proposed.
Right.
Chair, maybe I could mention something maybe that wasn't mentioned is the way some of these storage facilities work. A lot of times when the users do come, they're kind of parking in those aisles by their units. So it's a little bit different. What is provided is the parking for people that would actually go to the leasing facility. So we think it's adequate. But if the Planning Commission has other
Yeah,
concerns.
my concern is you have 19 acres, so if they park on one end of the property, where they have a storage unit or an RV parking, and they have to walk clear across to the leasing facility.
So the existing facility along Grapefruit Boulevard, it looks like they have 1, 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 spaces that are right by the leasing office. And that's without the on-site storage they have for RVs.
So what we assessed was 3 units were adequate, and they're putting in 5. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you for your presentation, Adrian. I know the landscape is very minimal, but did we consider a landscape maintenance agreement with the applicant?
In terms of landscape maintenance agreement, this landscaping is all going to be on site, so it'd be
Correct.
on the applicant to maintain that, right?
As opposed to being where? Like on the ultimate right-of-way, or what are we referring to?
Right, so
Would this be totally on private property, is what we're saying here?
The large part of the landscaping is on the private property,
Right.
but like there is some area along the frontage, right? It's
Right.
at the end of the cul-de-sac. So,
Within road right-of-way.
yeah, so I think if there was a larger landscape area that was public, we probably would have a discussion about the maintenance agreement, but because it's so small, we kind of thought it's probably not.
I'd like to just make it a standard, like across citywide, that we enter into agreements with any developer moving forward, right? And just be constant. And, with that as well, getting rid of the DG, period, and going with gravel or rock, right? So that's something that I'd like to see, is that we enter into a landscape maintenance agreement with the applicant and removing the DG and going with three-quarter rock.
I think they have,
Is that in there, Adrian?
There's a landscaping section in.
Well, it's they have 3/8 DG there, and that's gonna blow out right away, so I'd rather see the rock there versus the DG.
3/4 gravel versus.
and do we have an agreement, landscape agreement with the existing frontage property, easement property?
Sorry.
Chair, could you repeat that again? Third
Yeah,
question.
do we have an agreement with the existing frontage property on the existing facility, on the landscape?
No, we don't, no.
Okay.
We haven't started doing that till
Okay,
last
can-
year with some of the commercial facilities.
Yeah, I'd like to see some continuity with, throughout the city with all development moving forward, right? That's something that we should aim towards, is entering into agreements with our business partners.
I think so, because we've had a problem with the PUCs on some of the light towers, and, we're in the middle of that. So I think it's important that we have some type of continuity, like Commissioner Hernandez has just mentioned.
And to address Vice Chair Hernandez's comment, so there's 3/8 DG Desert Gold for the ground cover for this
Yeah,
site.
apply 3 inches thick, yeah. I would encourage us to move towards three-quarter gravel standard.
Recommendation.
Like the first rain that comes, it's gonna wash out.
I think that's been consistent with other CPUs, right? We've been encouraging
Yeah.
that landscape and that size of gravel, so.
Maybe we ought to keep it consistent,
Yeah.
But,
Does the applicant want to speak? Do we want to open it to public comment?
should we have a comment, public comment? You want to address the commission? Okay. We'll open up the public comment at 8:49.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. David Turner with Coachella Valley Engineers, Palm Desert, representing the applicant, Jim and Terry Delhammer, owners of the adjacent property in this. They've been owners of the adjacent property for approximately 25 years, and if you drive by it, you can see how well it's kept up and the landscape and everything's maintained. They've even rehabbed the facility over the years to kind of keep it up and nice. And we're looking to expand this because just growing with how the city's growing. But to answer a couple of the questions that came up here, could you go back to the exhibit of the, I guess first the overall that shows the, well, actually, you could stop there for a second. Those 5 parking spaces, just to clarify, those 5 parking spaces are for individuals to come in and check into the office as if they're going to rent a unit, or if they go to their unit and come back and say a lock is, or the door is broken or needs some maintenance or something. So it's a place for them to stop and go into the office and talk to staff so they can address items. As far as they wouldn't park there and walk to their unit. If you can go to the overall. So on the overall, we've worked with the fire marshal, and we've got a minimum of 30-foot roadways in front of the units. So they'll park on one side. They'll be able to get into their unit, either load or unload what they have. There's still room for emergency services, fire trucks to get by if there was anything that happened. And so it's allowed for them to go in and park and be able to get in and out of their unit right there. They don't walk, they'll just drive right to it, and then they just drive right back out of the facility.
Is there on the older facility?
There's just 5 for the office, but it allows parking along the storage of those units in front of your unit while you load and unload.
Is that the existing facility, or is it proposed to?
Both. Both
okay,
the existing
so you
and
have
proposed.
You have also 5 you're proposing.
Yep, and so there's allowed for room there.
And that's been pretty functional then?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
And then to answer your question regarding the existing facility, it's approximately 48,000 square feet, approximately 400 enclosed storage units, 105 RV spaces, 1 apartment for on-site living, and then 1 office. So this one will just have an office.
Okay, thank you.
And then regarding if you could go back to the site with the parking. I agree with you and understand the concern of having a landscape maintenance agreement. The situation here, and I think why staff didn't require it, is because usually it's for either maintaining median island or a long frontage. In this situation, we just have a little, probably 60-foot long edge of a cul-de-sac, of which that 10-foot right-of-way there, or 10 foot outside of the curb and gutter, 5 feet of that is going to be sidewalk. So there's just a little 60-foot by about 5-foot wide strip that is going to be landscaped. And so
Perfect.
that's why it was
it
just
wouldn't,
going to be
it wouldn't be
part
a
of it.
big deal to maintain it, though.
Oh, no, not at all. We're planning on maintaining it. You won't even notice the difference. It'll be planned and incorporated right in there. It's just that I think staff was looking to save, a bunch of legal documents, because we're just going to be maintaining it anyway, because it's going to look like our property. Code enforcement will come out and let us know if it's not being maintained, but no, we plan on maintaining it. And
We have enough of those cases.
Yep, I know. So I think that addressed those questions. I really want to thank staff really for getting this letter last night and working with us last night and this morning and this afternoon to try and get this all taken care of, mitigated, and put it together, and to get this ready to go. And with your staff's efforts, this wouldn't have happened.
So what's the time frame on the actual construction?
We're planning on going through and finish the improvement plans, however long that takes, 6 months, 9 months to get all that done and ready to go. And then we'll start construction on the phase 1 and get that up and operational. And then depending on how leasing and everything happens, we plan on starting the phase 2 probably within a year and a half, 2 years after that.
Okay, so total construction time?
Probably 3 to 4 years, probably.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Very cool.
And then to just conclude, just to address the slide, the applicant, we're okay with the additional conditions and amending the initial study and working with staff to move forward on the things to get everything all cleaned up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
We're still in public
Oh, I'm
comment.
sorry. Let me close off public hearing.
Can you check to see if there's any?
Yeah, do we have any more comments in public? Nobody with their hands raised? Nada?
No hands online.
Okay, so we're closing public comment. It's 8:54.
So Commissioner Hernandez, are we agreeing for that 3/4 of gravel versus?
Yeah.
Okay, for with modification?
Yeah, you want to make a motion with conditions, or?
I was asking. Okay. Go ahead.
And just Chair and Planning Commissioners, just if you wanted to save time on it, you could probably refer to just adding the changes to the mitigation measures and the conditions of approval as mentioned by staff.
Okay.
And that would be number 2, right?
Commissioner, he has it up on the board if you want.
Yeah. If you didn't want to read all of that.
So it would be number 2, right?
The whole thing.
Like recommendation alternate number 2?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm reading, correct?
Yeah, I don't have that recommendation in front of you, but.
On the
agenda?
packet, on
Yeah,
the
packet,
agenda.
Yeah.
What is it, Adrian? What's the recommendation? Is it 1 or 2?
To adopt the staff with modifications as proposed by Planning Commission. I think that's the one.
Right, so item number 2 is with any modifications as proposed by the Planning Commission, and I believe you are making some additional modifications to the gravel.
All right, yeah, so we're gonna adopt resolution number PC 2023-31, adopting a mitigating negative declaration for EA number 23-05 and approving CUP number 369 and AR number 23-06 for a RV self-storage with findings and conditions as recommended by staff with modifications as proposed by the Planning Commission to enter to a landscape maintenance agreement and 3/4-inch gravel.
Okay. Commissioner said, thank you, Adrian, for your presentation.
I'll second
Get a
that.
second on the motion.
Second.
Get a roll call.
Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Arvizu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
and Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Going on to the next item on the agenda, information.
Is this where we can speak openly?
Anything, Director?
No, it'll be the next item on director updates.
Yeah, so just a few updates. I know we had a study session earlier. The task from the city council, when they considered this at a study session, was that this go before the planning commission. Typically, like a sidewalk federal ordinance would not go in front of the planning commission because most of what you have per view is around the Title 17, the zoning section of the code.
Yeah.
This is really out of like the business title, chapters 5 and 12. But the city council really wanted this to come back, really vet those issues and make a recommendation to them. So just one of the other things I want to point out is we did talk to the health department about this issue. And so some of the things that were brought up earlier about having the proper information from the health department, they did offer to provide those services here at the city. Maybe we do it at the library. So we'll work on that, but there are, as we mentioned before, a lot of requirements that the health department does require. So the pictures that I showed you earlier, a lot of that might not be allowed in the city. So we are trying to work through that. Our intent is to bring back a ordinance again to getting the feedback from you today. And it'll be up to you to make that recommendation at a future meeting. So our intent is to bring that back as soon as possible. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the Planning Commissioners Academy. So I think right now we have about 4 that have confirmed they'd like to attend. So that should work out. We look forward to you being present, and I believe our city attorney, Henry, will be there too. Are you doing
Henry.
doing Jeopardy at the Planning Commissioners Academy?
What's the date on that?
March 6th through the 10th, I
And
believe.
it's in Long Beach, is it?
6 to the 8th
6th to the 8th.
in Long Beach.
In Long Beach. So if you haven't confirmed you'd like to attend, just let me or Elsa know. And just last thing is there's going to be just one more planning commission meeting scheduled for the rest of the year. So that's going to be, I think, December 6th, right?
Yes.
And so we won't resume planning commission meetings until January after that.
And just a quick comment before we continue this conversation further. I think, we just got to look at both sides, be objective and be fair. And then, I look forward to, just carrying on this conversation and ultimately making, the right decision for the community.
I agree. But, we're the way the city is going, we are asking our developers to deliver an excellent product in housing, in these apartment complexes. And we're asking them to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars for parks.
Donate?
Yeah, or give, right? Or to give into a fund to construct the park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're doing it, right? And they're delivering the product. Now, we got to look at scales, right? So that's how I would approach this, is it's all scales of economy. If we're asking, you know, the guy who's constructing to deliver $1 million project, $32 million project, $300 million project, and he's got to deliver with excellence, well, anybody who should be doing business in Coachella, they should be doing it with excellence. Commissioner, I believe Arizo, right? She talked about small business displacement the other day, wanting to talk about economic development, concern for small business. And that was everybody here. That was all these people here. That's all these people on this list here.
Yeah.
This is who you were talking about. All these people on this list. And that's our duty as commissioners, is to build cities, to build societies, to build communities. That's our responsibility. And yeah, I totally agree that we should give everybody an opportunity, but at the end of the day, that opportunity should lead to being a stakeholder in the city. Just like we want to champion affordable housing, first-time buyer plans for newly residents. We want to give them the opportunity to afford a home in the city. Hey, yeah, we pushed forward an AD. We pushed forward Airbnb right on the last. We utilized the CCR. That wasn't a popular move, but sometimes what is right is not always popular.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's going to take some intestinal fortitude, some political will to do what is right by all these 31 people who've given to sports teams, who've given to numerous fundraisers to do what's right by them, who are here each and every day in our city, and who want to be here, and who live here. And those are my comments.
I'd like to add something to that, or dovetail to your comments, Commissioner Hernandez. I think also with providing some type of ordinance that allows with rules, health permits, and all the necessary permits for vendors who are, or sidewalk vendors, right? That puts skin on the game. That puts an onus on them to also. I'm a small business owner. I understand how hard it is. I understand their plight. My parents are business owners. I get it, and it's tough. It's really tough at every level, talking about scales, right? But I think it's important that we set the tone, in the city of Coachella, that if you want to participate, you got to have skin in the game and you have to follow the rules. Because I know if I go eat at a taco and I get sick, I can go sue a small business owner. They can come and sue me. How do you fight that case? People getting sick. I'm more healthcare oriented, as you all might know. And so it's important for me that we're out there talking about the young lady who spoke. Things are on the floor. I've seen it. I've supported, but at the end of the day, it's, we got to do it right. We got to do it right. And as you can see, it's impacting our community, and they're contributing I see them. I go visit them. I go support these businesses myself because I want to keep it here locally. This is just me from a personal perspective, but from a general perspective, I think we heard them loud and clear. I hope, the city council takes, the staff takes this to city council for them to make a solid ordinance that will at least to get us going to help what we have going on in the city of Coachella. I really do see that and hope for that. Commissioners.
I did want to add, I think that majority of us are in agreement that we want to see something that's fair, something that really levels that playing field, right? Making sure that we are addressing all of the concerns. it takes a lot for everyone to organize and actually be present here.
Yeah.
How many other meetings have we had that at, right? And so the effort that they're making, and also these are businesses that I've been going to my whole life, right? Majority of them. And so recognize each one of them. So it's definitely near and dear to my heart, and especially at them saying, well, they may have to close. And that's just the reality of it. But I think that as we move forward and as these new codes are going to be presented, and we hope that we can all agree with them, one common theme among everyone that spoke was the hardships that they went through while just trying to go through the process. And specifically with just trying to get a permit through the county, not having access to that proper information. So as we move forward, how can we as a city ensure that we are providing that sort of resource, even if it's just us having the flyer, right? Having that information accessible, making sure that whatever codes are available, that they are actually legible to the audience that we're speaking to, right? That it's not always big words, that it's not always this complicated language, but that it's easy to communicate, because something that I also noticed was that there is a lot of miscommunication that's going on. There is a lot of, and that was definitely a common theme, where there's not a lot of certainty about the way that things function and the way that it's working. So that definitely makes we really do need to reflect on, okay, well, how is the city communicating to business owners then, right? And if it's furthering that resentment that they're currently feeling, and the fact that we're failing them right now, because it was mentioned that they had brought it up beforehand, right? And if this has been a consistent issue, how can we get to a point where we're not only reacting to this? But I just wanted to put in those remarks that we really do need to prioritize offering those resources for our small businesses to ensure that they're able to continue to stay here, and that they're here for 30, 40 years. And ideally, we would love it to be a generational business, right? That they continue to grow and we continue to work together, because it's true. They are the community. They're the ones that have helped grow this community.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 more things. Having a vendor guide would be helpful. I know you guys, I think the staff are working on loading or updating some part of the website, right, with that information. So having a vendor guide, I know Palm Springs has something like that, and they have Planet Bid, they have some other things we should glean from them, or just from other cities around. I've looked them up. Also, we should broadcast what are the rules of the city of Coachella. What can you do at home? I mean, I'm not trying to isolate anyone. I think everyone's trying to be an entrepreneur and sell something, sell their specialty, but a lot of it's happening with no enforcement and outside of the rules of cottage law and micro kitchens. I'll be honest, I'm not trying to stop that, but I think it would be good to educate our community a little bit about that. I know that's the city taking an extra step, but if we want to set the tone and we want to go in that direction, we need to do help them to help us kind of thing. And that's just where it comes down to. The other thing is we should also consider, from a staff perspective, the enforcement efforts, because it's going to take resources from the city of Coachella to make sure that we're doing our part, and checking and making sure, right?
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
To specifically the staff, because I don't see how you're going to run an enforcement department with those fine fees. You just to send somebody out there, just to have somebody patrol at night or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What that's going to cost the city?
Because that's what I have here.
You know what I mean?
Enforcement.
Like how do you balance the sheets at the end of the day?
I think what we have to make clear is that we have to understand that we're dealing with a state law, and we have to understand what our legal realms are. Right. And obviously, legal counsel is going to advise us on that. But there's certain things that we can do and we can't do. This is a state mandate law.
And that's fine.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So we have to understand.
We do have authority of a jurisdiction, and I think the conversation that we are having is within the confines of the law.
Yeah, and then we have to look at the legal challenges that are being brought up.
There is no legal challenges.
No, across the state.
Well,
Yeah, there
Los
is.
Angeles has a couple things in court.
Well, no, that's
But
something totally different. But
yeah.
listen, I think at the end of the day, if we're able to provide a path
That's
to
exactly
to
it.
brick and mortar,
Yeah.
like the American dream is to realistically is this opportunity is to realize dreams.
Yeah, but the
Right.
laws, you know,
Yeah,
stipulates
so
too
I
that-
kind of just want to step in really quick. So the fines that are on the ordinance, that's from state law. They can't exceed that
We
amount.
cannot exceed that.
No, so it's 100, 200, and 500.
Okay,
Well,
so
That's by state law.
well, there you go. Like that's from someone being so disconnected from the actual issue. Like the author jumped the gun because nobody was moving on it, right? So when he wrote the law, it's because nobody was moving on the law.
These are state legislators
Yeah,
across
the person
across the state.
No, I imagine they consulted with some people, but no one took into account like, hey, what's it gonna cost to run this, right? To quote enforce code.
Well, I think what we're gonna do is, we have to weigh in all the,
And I'm sorry, I know I've been like saying no all day today, but, so,
For overtime.
yeah, we can't really engage in like discussion, so, I mean,
Yeah,
if you
that's-
have a comment, say your comment, and then, let the other person, give the other person an opportunity to.
we have to weigh in all the circumstances that are existing, you know? And then take everything into consideration, make the most logical choice for our community. That's the way I see it. I
Well,
mean, that's my,
in my opinion, the most logical choice would champion a road to success, which reflects in being a stakeholder in our community and building communities.
how do you get there?
You have a pathway to brick and mortar. You have an incubator. You have grants,
That's right, that's the way we're gonna do it.
right? That's how it has to be. You have to like if we're gonna go down this path. Well, what's the end result? What do we want?
Well, Commissioner Hernandez, we have the Resilience Center that's, underway, so that could be an
Well,
opportunity.
no,
once we
that's
get
that's contingent upon.
I know.
We're able to land dollars, right?
Well, fingers crossed. But I think our comments have, did you receive all our comments?
Yeah, so we
Director.
took note of them, and so we'll be moving on that. I mean, I kind of understand, have an idea where Planning Commission wants to go. I hear you hearing the concerns of the business community, but as well as balancing that out with the interest of street vendors. Obviously, there's certain limitations. Some of the businesses thought that the fines were low. Well, we can't charge more, and the fines might be higher for a brick and mortar, right? But we're
Even the
we're not so tight.
warnings, like where does the warnings come from?
That comes from us. So that
Yeah,
was,
that's city.
That was city.
so, and that's gonna be
We
really,
should give zero warnings.
but that's gonna be in your recommendation, commission. So whatever's presented to you, if there is something that you're not recommending approval for, you can request those changes.
Understood.
Yeah, no, thanks everybody for all the comments.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we'll continue the conversation. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
A
I second that.
We had roll call.
Commissioner Murillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Arvizu,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
and Chair Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.